open.
راح نطلع إن شاء الله لايف within 1 minute. Okay. Amira, you're muted. I think your voice is a little bit poor.
سمعتي؟ لا بس أنا صوتي كمان على صوتي.
بس عشان when people joining want to.
أنا فيني هلا. Is it well now?
Yeah, better.
Okay. Actually, 1 second.
You will start streaming now, تمام. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Malak.
Good morning, everyone. صباح الخير. السلام عليكم. I would really appreciate if you could please let me know the chat box if you can hear me well. ممكن لو سمحتوا بس اكتبوا على الشات إذا قادرين تسمعوا صوتي منيح. شكرا. السلام عليكم جميعا. My name is Amira Yassin. I'm the Research and Operations Lead at the Clean Energy Business Council. I will be your moderator today. I'd like to welcome everyone to the second day of the Advanced Technologies for Managing Modern Smart Sustainable Cities virtual conference. Thank you for being with us today and joining us, and thank you for our speakers for their willingness to provide their expertise with the audience. So today our event will be taking place from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll be having around 11 presentations with Q&A sessions. حيكون عنا تقريبا 11 عرض. This event is a collaborative event between the Environmental Center for Arab Towns, which is operating under Dubai Municipality, Solaribec, and the Clean Energy Business Council. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the teams for putting this together. So before introducing our first presenter, I would like to hand this over to our Managing Director, Dr. Bushra Barakat, the Managing Director of the Clean Energy Business Council, to provide the introductory speech.
Thank you, Amira. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bushra Barakat. I'm the Managing Director of the Clean Energy Business Council. For people who are not familiar with our organization, the Clean Energy Business Council is a nonprofit, non-governmental organization that was found in 2012 with the main mission of accelerating the development and deployment of clean energy and clean technologies in the MENA region. So as an NGO and as a clean energy organization, we try to bring together all members of the private sector in order to foster a more coordinated, inclusive, and sustainable clean energy sector. We encourage more collective approaches and facilitate the development of forward-looking policies that reflect the needs and perspectives of the private sector and industry. I'm glad to welcome you all to the second day of this pivotal seminar entitled Advanced Technologies for Managing Modern, Smart, Sustainable Cities. We're very happy to be organizing this webinar in collaboration with our partners from Solarabic and the Environmental Center for Arab Towns. So going back to the theme of the webinar, we can see that now we're stepping into a time of rapid urbanization, as well as an escalating climate crisis. So the shift towards modern, sustainable cities is not a priority anymore, but it's an essential requirement for all cities. So we can see that nations and regions are working towards achieving decarbonization and net zero targets. And so it becomes imperative for cities in these regions to update both their energy as well as water infrastructures to be in harmony with the new energy technologies that are present, as well as the technologies that will unfold from now until we reach our 2050, 2060 targets. So we want our cities to be future ready, to be resilient, inclusive, as well as climate positive. So there are many examples of the technologies, but some of these include leveraging artificial intelligence to enhance waste management, utilizing smart sensors to optimize energy consumption, adopting green building technologies that drastically reduce carbon footprints, integrating transportation systems to minimize emissions and enhance the quality of life, as well as developing digital platforms that facilitate dialogues between governments and citizens. So today we'll be discussing some of these technologies, as well as strategies for cities in order to incorporate them into their new transition to become future ready. So for this, in order to do this, this requires a comprehensive approach to city management, and it requires dynamic urban planning. And so today's webinar, as well as throughout this 3-day period, we're going to offer a platform in order to discuss these crucial transitions and highlight the essential technologies and strategies for our journey towards sustainability. Today, in specific, we'll be going deeper into energy and distribution networks, energy efficiency, automation, highlighting solutions for city management and energy management. So before we go into today's agenda, I just want to thank again the expert speakers that have agreed to join us today, as well as throughout this conference in order to share their insights and experience. We're very grateful for your time and support. And I'm going to hand it back to Amira to guide us through today's agenda. And I wish you all a very beneficial session today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bushra, for the introduction. So as Dr. Bushra mentioned, day two will be, the theme of day two will be under advanced solutions in energy management. We will be having 11 presentations from experts in the region. Each presentation will take around 15 minutes. We will have Q&A sessions. I would like to kindly request all the attendees to please use the Q&A box for typing in all of the questions that you have with regards to the presentations instead of the chat box. حيكون عندنا تقريبا 11 presentation أو 11 عرض، وبتمنى لو ممكن تكتبوا بس الأسئلة اللي عليكم بالQ&A box مو بالchat حتى يكون أسهل لنا. So I would like to hand it over to our first presenter, Dr. Manal Aboud, who will be giving the first presentation on efficiency revolution, pioneering solutions in energy and distribution networks. أول عرض رح يكون بعنوان ثورة الكفاءة وحلول الرائدة في شبكات الطاقة والتوزيع by Dr. Manal Aboud.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Manal Abdulwahid Aboud from University of Technology. So today we must talk about the energy efficiency and the innovation and pioneer solution in this field. So why we need for energy efficiency or for more efficient energy? Because of the rapid change, what is paramount as societies and technologies evolved, the demand for energy to power home, industries and transportation continues to the growth. Meeting this need efficiently, sustainability, and adaptability is a critical challenge for our change world. This next. So the need for energy in this world because of some reason like resource conservation, cost saving and environmental impact, reliability, energy security, technological advancement, and sustainability, global competitiveness, where, as we know, that the resource conservation, where efficiency reduce waste, allowing us to make the most of our energy resources, which can be finite and environmentally sensitive. Also, this efficiency is network reduce operational costs, which can lead to lowering energy bills, to consumption and increasing consumptive for businesses. Also, we have environmental impact and reliability. So the innovation plays a pivotal role in the advancing solution within the energy and distribution networks field. And there some innovation in that field, like smart grid and distributed energy resources, and in energy storage and demand response, microgrid, electrical vehicle charging infrastructure, energy management system, artificial intelligence and machine learning, blockchain for energy transition and hydrogen energy, carbon capture, and advancing in grid monitoring. So also, please next. We have challenges for the current energy where the challenges revolved around the several key issues that impact both the viability of the sustainability of energy. Ms. Merna, please, next. So we have transition to renewable energy, and we have environmental impact and reliability issues we take before and expand in energy demand. So in environmental impact, we have fuel dependency and climate change, resource depletion, where in climate change, is one of the most environmental issues in primarily driven by emission of greenhouses like carbon dioxide from active such as burned fossil fuel for energy and deforestation, where climate change leads to rising temperatures, sea level rise, extreme weather events, and distribution for ecosystems. If we talk about climate change, there is many things that will cause the energy challenges in this, like waste generation, resources depletion, and land use change, ocean pollution, and others. In reliability issues, we have aging infrastructure where many of infrastructure will be built in from decades. Also, there is expanding in energy demand because of the pollution growth. Also, urbanization and emerging economies. So please, next. So there is one of the so why we do go to driven or drive for efficiency energy. We go to efficient energy because of the growing global awareness and demand for energy. Also, the role of government policy and environmental concerns. Next, please. One of the most important things in innovations in this field is the smart grid, where smart grid is as a pioneer solution in that field, where smart grid is an advanced digitally enabled electrical grid system that leverages modern technology to enhance the efficiency, reliability, and sustainability of electricity generation, also distribution and consumption. So it represents a significant upgrade for traditional electricity grids by integrating various innovation features and capability. So we have some keys, components, and characteristics of smart grid, like two-way communication, advanced sensor and meters, grid automation, distribution energy resources, demand response, grid realists, and energy efficiency integration with energy, renewable energy, and improved outing management. So also enhanced data analytic and secure and cyber security. So smart grid as a pioneer solution in energy efficiency because it efficiency enhancement, integration with renewable energy, demand response, and else. So smart grid have optimization where that refer to the process of maximizing the efficiency and reliability and sustainability for this system through various strategies and technologies and data-driven approaches. So the goal is to enhance the performance of the electrical grid and ensure it meets the evolved demand of energy generation, distribution, and consumption, where there is some aspect of a smart grid to optimization, like data analysis and real-time monitoring, demand response program, grid optimization, integration of renewable energy, also energy storage, fault deletion and isolation, cybersecurity, resource allocations, and environmental consideration, also customer engagement. Also renewable energy, we can integrate it with grid compatibility, energy storage, grid management, and demand response and distribution, interaction, and smart grid energy, energy market reform and transmission infrastructure, energy forecasting, and hyper system and policy supported. Next, please.
دكتور منال آسفة على المقاطعة بس باقي بس 5 دقايق على البرزنتيشن.
Okay. So we talk about importance of integrated renewable energy sources into distribution network, where it is a significant important for various reasons like environmental sustainability, reduced dependence on fossil fuel and energy security, lower operating costs, grid reliability, energy access, peak load reduction, and community engagement, economic benefits, also decentralization and scalability, environmental and health benefits, technological advancement, and climate change mitigation. Next, please. So there is many. Next, please. So there is many successful renewable energy integration. Next, please. Okay. So I can speak about, there is many successful renewable energy integration projects where there is, for the integration of smart grid and renewable energy, there is many examples of this, like Germany energy wind and California renewable energy portfolio and Denmark wind power integration, South Australia Tesla battery and geothermal energy in Iceland, India, solar mega park, and Hawaii distributed solar, and Portugal renewable energy growth, China, Chile, and other. So there is some of the smart and successful in enhancing energy by integration with renewable energy. Okay, next, please. Case study. What we take about, there is many case study from, there is many case study like we say before. Next, please. Okay, so there is a future possibility where we emerging the technologies and the future possibility in energy distribution networks by integrated renewable energy and smart grid. We can enhancing energy and enhancing the efficiency of energy, and then to reduce the lowering in energy. Okay, next, please. If we say about challenges and obstacles, where there is many obstacles that force the energy, like as we say before, the integrating and transformation for renewable energy, depletion of fuel, and there is many challenges that will and also infrastructure and etc. Okay, then we can say about the addressing issues like infrastructure upgrades. So if we talk about the energy or the efficiency in this, and challenges and obstacle we can say about the cost barriers and reinforcing existing building, lack of awareness, regularity of hurdles, technological gaps, supply chain issues, and complexity of integration, behavior barrier, and infrastructure constraint, and also financing in investment, political and policy shifting, data privacy and security, and there is many challenges and obstacles that will be. So if we want to addressing these for infrastructure, we must have to tackle these challenges by infrastructure upgraded, by investment in prioritization and public-private partnership, long-term planning, and incentive for infrastructure and research and innovation in this field. Also regularity and hardness, regularity and alignment, streamlining and promoting and incentive programs, public awareness and regularity and sandbox industry. There is many things we can do, also public engagement and others. Okay, next, please. Okay, if we want to, based on the information provided, so certainly there has key conclusions. This also why electrification of transportation, energy efficiency in building challenges and obstacle, infrastructure upgrades, and also by environmental impact, bioreaction solution in energy are prompted from vorticing of several complex reasons like environment impact, resources conversion, and also. Next, please. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Shukran, Dr. Manal.
Thank you very much.
I'm checking the chat and the Q&A box. I don't think there are any questions. ما أظن إنه في أحد عنده أي سؤال هلا، بس هو رح يكون في Q&A session كمان بعد a few more presentations، يعني بعد كم عرض حيكون في فقرة سؤال وجواب، فعادي ممكن نجاوب الأسئلة وقتها. Reading بس the comments, can we get a copy of the presentations? ملك ما بعرف, I think they will be able to.
Yes, it will be uploaded on the website.
تمام إن شاء الله. Okay, so I would like to introduce our next presenter, Mr. Arnold Hoffman from Hager, who will be presenting on advanced solutions in energy management. حاول أكتب التايتل أو اسم العنوان العرض على الكومنتس. Mr. Arnold, the floor is yours. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Hi, well, thank you a lot for the invitation, and yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, well pronounced. Okay, so you should be able to see my presentation, and maybe myself also. I shared the video as well. Well, yeah, thank you a lot for the presentation. That was almost an introduction. I really liked it a lot to hear about that. If you introduce renewable energies into an energy system, you will not be able to maintain everything as it was. And what I'm going to talk about is some changes in, at least for countries like Germany and France, which are the main markets for the Hager Group. We see some struggles. We're shifting from a power system that was mainly, of course, dominated by large suppliers of energies like coal or nuclear power plants that really are designed for running with a nominal power almost all the time, and not so much for in a reduced power mode. And this can, of course, yeah, this really marks a difference if you shift to renewables, especially if you want to see the whole transition. You will also have to see a transition in mobility, meaning that we have more electric vehicles, that we will shift from fossil powered heating to electrically powered heating, and thus creating a whole new demand in the network. And the network was not designed for that when it was built, sometimes 50 years or more ago in those countries. But let me jump into the presentation. So I called it peer-to-peer power trading because this is a concept that we see now and that we are promoting towards regulators and towards governments in order to give an idea how we could tackle those bottlenecks that do appear in the distribution systems, especially when the demand is high. You know, we're not looking at, is there also enough supply in this moment? This is another topic, but even if there is enough supply, leading maybe to low prices in the energy system, we might see challenges in the distribution system, overloading assets like cables, transformers. Okay, so what's today's status in Germany? I will focus on the status in two countries, in Germany and in France. As I said, those are the main markets for the Hager Group. And in Germany today, the assigned power or network capacity for each household is pretty high. It's something like 35 kVA. So you can basically do whatever you want within your home without having any fuses or circuit breakers tripping. So those connections are over-dimensioned, but that was never an issue as there were no large loads in those households that were running on a permanent in a permanent way. So heating is traditionally done with fossil fuels like natural gas or oil. There's no such thing as air conditioning widely spread in Germany, and vehicles were running on fuel as well, of course, in the past years. So that was never an issue. But yeah, the emergence of electric vehicles and heat pumps as the new way to heat in buildings, this is requiring a new approach. Now let's shift to France. What has France done? France, from a historical or traditional point of view, has always in the past decades already based its heating of water and the heating of the building on electricity. So they are pretty familiar with the issue of large loads in households that run continuously in winter. And their approach was to limit the power that every household can draw from the network. And you do that via contract. If you want more power, you have to pay more per year in your contract. And if you are able to live with less, well, you can save money. So I gave here the example with those. Let me see. I just grab the laser pointer. Where is it? I use the laser pointer. Doch, das ist a laser pointer. Here it is. So here I grabbed the example of this one having 12 kVA, 8 kVA, and 14 kVA. The standard or the lowest you can get is 6 kVA. So you will rapidly notice that this is really a very small dimension connection. But what happens if you use more than what you have contractually booked by at your DSO? Well, it's very easy. You have a special breaker, and this one is set to the value that you have in your contract. And this breaker will disconnect and trip as soon as you exceed the value that you have booked in your contract. That means that your whole house goes down. So the customer then needs to manually reconnect the breaker after having reduced the load manually. So this is the current situation. And when we try to learn from both of these countries and to see, okay, how could this, what would be maybe the we were looking for a smarter solution than this one that we saw in France, which is decades old. Yeah, let's not forget that. And the solution that is a little bit more restrictive than the one in Germany right now, because this will lead to problems. It's only a matter of time. And then we came up with the idea of something we call peer-to-peer power trading, which is a decentral self-regulating energy system for power trading. So we're not talking about energy here. This is important. Let's assume that you have an energy trading on top, where you buy your energy. It can be cheap if there's a lot of sun or wind. It can be more expensive if it's night and there's no wind. So a very variable price for energy, but also for your power, because if there is a lot of renewable energies in the system will probably not be dimensioned, as this would be far too expensive, will not be dimensioned to handle all these power. So in the example we're giving here, we want to do the following. We have a rather low assigned power for the households, not as it is in Germany today, but rather similar to the French model. And that can be extended on a short time frame through a peer-to-peer marketplace. So instead of booking more power for the whole year and paying for a whole year a significant amount of money, what we do right now is that we want to have it on a short time frame. Let's say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. And for this time frame, we want to give the ability to increase your power, the capacity that you book from the network, and afterwards decrease it again. And in this example, what we do is we say, let's have a transformer with 400 kVA, and we count the number of buildings we have. We keep, let's say, 50 kVA as a backup for the distribution system operator, and then we come up with something like 5 kVA for each household, which is rather low, I know. But the sum of these powers corresponds to the transformer nominal power. That's the idea. So per definition, you cannot overload the network, which is quite nice. And what we do now is that we install a marketplace. And as soon as one of the households needs more than those 5 kVA, this household needs to buy additional capacity, either from the DSO, if the DSO decides to use its power to put it on the marketplace, or, and that's the situation that is actually a little bit more interesting, from the other households. So in this case, what happens is that you will have the ones who really need more network capacity because they afford a whole set of loads that need to be run. Well, those are the one requiring higher network capacity. Those are the one who will need to pay for this, and they will pay it to their neighbors who are able to reduce the required capacity. That's the basic idea that we put behind. And of course, if there's no one selling capacity and I need capacity, either the DSO can jump in, or if that's not possible, well, that would mean that this household needs to do some load shedding by switching off an air conditioning and electric vehicle charging or whatever it is. So a load manager would be, let's say mandatory. Now, because this load manager will probably be the one doing all the transactions on the marketplace. We don't see this done manually, of course. This is something that needs to be run automatically by a load manager. And the DSO, who is probably, we believe the marketplace could be run by anyone, but there are a couple of arguments why it makes sense that this marketplace is run by the DSO. And the DSO can closely observe what happens if the marketplace is often short. So there's often a higher demand than there is offers. That could clearly be a sign that the network is underdimensioned in this area. And the addition of the upgrade of the assets of cables or transformers could be necessary. So this is a reason why it makes sense that the DSO keeps an eye on it and maybe owns this marketplace. Okay. This concept of peer-to-peer power trading, yeah, what's the current status? We filed this concept as for an innovation prize that was run by the ZVEI, which is the German Electronic Manufacturer Association, and and we were able to win this prize. We were quite happy about it because it was the first time that we went out of our Hager world and started discussing it with people outside of the company. And the first thing that happened is that we were rewarded with this prize. So it made us kind of happy. And right now, what we're doing is the preparation of a proof of concept. There are, of course, a lot of open questions that are surrounding the whole topic that we need to find out. And there's probably we will need a proof of concept. So that means an installation in a network. You know, those marketplaces there would be plenty of them, because a marketplace would always be in one distribution system behind one transformer on the low voltage side, and you cannot do the trading with another one. So that makes it quite easy for us to do. Easy is maybe a little bit exaggerated, but it's easier to do a proof of concept because we only need one area behind one transformer to participate. And that's what we are working on right now in order to find out what are the challenges that we still did not think about. That's the most interesting point, and what is working quite well already. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arnold, for the presentation, and it was very insightful. This topic is, personally for me, it's interesting, especially with the rise of emerging technologies and blockchain. I'm personally interested to know if we could ever apply this in the MENA region. We actually do have a few questions. So Ahmed Khalifa asked if it's possible to apply this on the industrial manufacturing facilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You want me to answer them right now, or should I type them into the chat? What do you prefer? Maybe I type them into the chat so you can continue with the next presenter, because I guess my time's over.
Okay, there are two questions, but
yeah, I see them both. I will answer them in the chat.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I didn't know that you have access to them. If you could type them, that would be fine.
I can type them in. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arnold.
It was a pleasure.
Okay. So our next presentation will be by Farkad Adnan from Basra University. And the title of the presentation will be The Internet of Things and the Labor Market to Address Environmental Challenges in a More Creative Way. I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Farkad.
السلام عليكم، حفظكم الله. الصوت واضح عفوا؟
نعم واضح.
تمام. share presentation. البرزنتيشن واضح؟
نعم أنا أقدر أشوف البرزنتيشن.
Okay. I will be with you only with my voice without a live video. I hope it's no problem. Okay.
No problem.
And I speak in Arabic.
كمان عادي، لا يفضل تحكي عربي. شكرا.
اوكي تمام. الله يسعدك. انا فخر عدنان PhD جامعة نيويورك دبي الامارات. مالك ثلاث شركات، واحدة بالصين والثانية في البصرة. مؤلف لعدة كتب علمية مختص في مجال علم الروبوت والذكاء الصناعي والاي او تي بشكل عام. اسمعي عنوان مالتي. يتمتع الإنترنت الأشياء الاي او تي بالقدرة على مواجهة التحديات البيئات المختلفة اللي من خلالها ممكن توفر جميع البيانات وتحليلها والتحكم فيها في الوقت الفعلي. البرزنتيشن الحالي راح نقوم بعملية توفير الأمان للبيانات المستلمة وتمكين من عملية التحكم بهذه البيانات بواسطة خدمات مختلفة. وأيضا الجزء الأساسي راح أتحدث عنه اللي هو عملية التحكم في مجموعة من الحساسات المستخدمة لمعرفة البيانات بواسطة تقنيات الإنترنت الأشياء. هناك عدة طرق مختلفة اللي ممكن احنا نستخدمها باستخدام إنترنت الأشياء لمواجهة تحديات البيئة. من ضمنها راح أقسمها لعدة نقاط أساسية، وكل قسم راح أذكر بروجكت المشروع اللي أنتجته وفي أي دولة قمت ببناء هذا البروجكت. واحد من التقنيات اللي هي Off Quality Monitoring اللي هي مراقبة جودة الهواء. أحد المشاريع اللي تم إنجازها لصالح مؤسسة رقابة الطقس بالعراق هو جهاز اللي يعمل وفق إنترنت الأشياء في جميع أنحاء المدن لمراقبة معايير جودة الهواء، واللي يقوم بكشف الجسيمات مثل البي ام 2.5 والبي ام 10 ومستويات الاوزون كذلك واحادي اكسيد الكربون وثاني اكسيد النيتروجين NO2، واللي يساعد في تحديد مناطق التلوث الساخنه وتمكين التدخلات في الوقت المناسب. من خلال جمع البيانات حول ملوثات الهواء بشكل مستمر ونقلها الى السيرفر الخاص بالنظام، طبعا باستخدام سيرفرات خاصه تم انتاجها. وبعد ذلك تتم عملية معالجة البيانات من خلال تطبيق مجموعة خوارزميات متقدمة قمت ببنائها بواسطة المشين ليرنينج لتحليل البيانات وتحديد أنماط أو الاتجاهات. هنا مثل ما جاي تلاحظون النتائج المستحصلة اللي يمكن دمجها جهازي الحالي اللي هو أمامكم بجودة الهواء قائمة على الإنترنت الأشياء مع أنظمة أو أجهزة أخرى لبدء الإجراءات بناء على بيانات جودة الهواء. على سبيل المثال ممكن نذكرها النتائج المستحصلة ربط بأنظمة التهوية أو أجهزة تنقية الهواء أو بنية تحتية المدينة الذكية لاستجابة تلقائية لظروف جودة الهواء السيئة. هنا نحن ممكن نقوم بعملية أخرى بالتطبيقات اللي هي إدارة المياه. واحد من المشاريع الأخرى اللي تم إنتاجها اللي هو الجهاز الحالي يمكن يعمل وفق إنترنت الأشياء بمراقبة جودة المياه بالأنهار والبحيرات والخزانات اللي هي الخزانات المنزلية باستخدام عدة تطبيقات. لذلك قمت بإنجاز وبناء جهاز يقوم بقياس معلومات مثل مستويات الرقم الهيدروجيني والأكسجين المذاب والعكارة المياه. ذلك قمت ببناءه لصالح مؤسسة دائرة المياه والمجاري عندنا في البصرة، واللي يساعد بجمع معلومات في الكشف المبكر عن تلوث المياه وتسهيل الإدارة الفعالة للموارد المائية. طبعا تم بناء على شكل بروتوتايب أولي ليوضح هسه الرسم أمامكم المدرج تصميم تطبيق استهلاك المياه بالوقت الحقيقي. طبعا قمت بتركيب الحساس لتدفق المياه هذا الخاص أمامكم بخط إمداد المياه الرئيسي إلى المنازل. من يمر الماء عبر حساس فإنه يمر بوفق الملف اللي هو تم وضعه داخل الأنبوب. كل تمريرة تنتج نبضة كهربائية من خلال حساب النبضات في الفترة الزمنية معينة وحساب قطر الأنبوب المستخدم، واللي هنا من ممكن حساب حجم المياه المتدفق عبر الحساس نفسه، واللي يقوم بعملية إرسال كل نبضة للوحة التحكم. طبعا قمت بتطوير هذا الابلكيشن باستخدام الاي او سي على الاكس كود لتصوير بيانات بتنسيق رسم بياني دقيق عن طريق الاتصال ببوابة الامازون اي بي اي جيت واي اللي تعرضها في الاي او اس ليفل لجلب البيانات المطلوبة لعرض كل رسم بياني. النقطة الثالثة اللي احنا نتحدث عنها اللي هي إدارة النفايات. واحد طبعا المشاريع اللي تم إنتاج على شكل نموذج أو وليس تطبيق حقيقي اللي هو مشروع سلة المهملات الذكية بالشوارع تعمل وفق الطاقة الشمسية. وأخذنا بأحد المشاريع الأول، أخذنا المركز الأول بأحد الجهات والمؤتمرات اللي شاركنا بيها. طبعا الطريقة الحالية التقليدية اللي احنا جاي نشوفها لرصد النفايات يدويني في صناديق النفايات أمر طبعا بالغ الأهمية وغير مريح ويتطلب المزيد من الجهد البشري والوقت والتكلفة، وهذا طبعا ما يتناسب مع التقنيات الحالية اللي احنا نطمح لها ل 2050. ولأن عملية إدارة النفايات من القضايا الحاسمة بإنشاء مدن ذكية، وبظل النمو السكاني الهائل اللي جاي نلاحظه أنجزت بناء وتصميم صندوق كبير للطرق واللي تم تنفيذه لصالح مؤسسة كنموذج أولي مثل ما ذكرت في البداية، واللي تتميز بنظام فتح الباب، باب ذكي، ونفس اللحظة بنظام فتح التصنيف الصوري للقمامة باستخدام التعرف الصوري ونظام التلوث والبث الصوتي، بمعنى أنه على سبيل المثال لو تقرب شخص من الصندوق ويحاول أنه يرميه راح يصدر عنده صوت اعتني بالبيئة. وأكيد طبعا طبعا أكيد ما نسيت أن النظام يعمل بالطاقة الذكية اللي هي الطاقة الشمسية وتقنيات الضغط التلقائي الذكي، واللي يحل سلة المهملات العامة لقيود السعة. ومن النقاط الأساسية اللي استخدمتها نظام التعقيم الذكي، واللي يعمل على إزالة الروائح الكريهة والتعقيم وفقا لإعادة الصحة النظيفة لوضع أساس متين للصندوق. وتم بناء طبعا إنتاجه في شركة بكوانزو في الصين، ودخلت أيضا طبعا بعملية البرمجة النظام بالوزن الطاقة الذكية والكشف الذكي عن الفاظ لسلة المهملات وإنذار الحريق كذلك. والتي تميز الصندوق بإضاءة ذكية على الجانب الأيمن، وكذلك بشحن USB، وأيضا إشارات الواي فاي اللاسلكية راح تكون مدمجة من ضمن الصندوق. النقطة الأخيرة أو اللي قبل الأخير نتحدث عنها اللي هي كفاءة الطاقة. كفاءة الطاقة واستهلاك الطاقة وتكاليفها واحدة من النقاط المهمة اللي تعد استخدام الطاقة باستخدام إنترنت الأشياء IoT أسلوب فعال جدا أنا أعتبره لتحسين استهلاك الطاقة وتقليل النفايات وتعزيز الاستدامة من خلال دمج أجهزة وتقنيات الإنترنت الأشياء، مما يسمح بمراقبة استخدام الطاقة والتحكم فيها وتحسينها بشكل أفضل. طبعا تساعد الأجهزة المنزلية الذكية أيضا المستخدمة على تتبع أجهزة الطاقة واتخاذ القرارات المستنيرة والحفاظ على الطاقة. هنا واحدة من النقاط اللي هو طبعا لا تساعد تطبيقات، يعني نشوف لا تساعد تطبيقات الإنترنت الشاملة من أجل كفاءة تقليل استهلاك الطاقة وتكاليفها بحسب، بل طبعا تساهم أيضا في تحقيق مستقبل أكثر اخضرارا واستدامة لهذه المؤسسة أو لهذه المدينة. المشروع اللي احنا قبل الأخير والأخير اللي أنا قمت بإنجاز اللي هو الزراعة الدقيقة بالأنظمة المستدامة. بهذا القسم طبعا أنجزت أثناء دراستي العليا في الإمارات في جامعة وولنغوك، قمت بعملية بناء نظام متكامل أحد يقوم بعملية جمع البيانات للتربة المتصلة بأجهزة وحساسات لاستشعار إنترنت الأشياء اللي هي تفعل وفق إنترنت الأشياء الموضوعة في الحقول التربة، اللي تقوم بعملية جمع بيانات حول مستويات الرطوبة التربة ودرجة الحرارة اللي هي متصلة بعضها بالأشجار بعضها بالتربة، واللي تساعد بمعرفة صحة المحاصيل أيضا. وبنهاية الأمر تساعد المزارعين باستخدام معلومات تحسين جودة الري داخل هذه المزرعة باستخدام مياه واستخدام الأسمدة الأكثر كفاءة، واللي هذا ساعد بشكل كثير بالاخضرار هذه المزرعة أو هاي المحاصيل. معالجة التحديات من خلال استفادة من قوة إنترنت الأشياء IoT، يمكن هذه الحلول أن تساهم في مستقبل أكثر استدامة وصديقة للبيئة. ومع ذلك من الضروري ضمان خصوصية البيانات ومنها أثناء تنفيذ هذه التقنيات في مواجهة تحديات البيئة بشكل فعال. من ضمن هاي التحديات الأساسية أنا ذكرتها بعدة نقاط أساسية قد تكون جزء من عدها هذه الاعتماد النهج الاقتصادي الدائري وتضمين استخدام الحلول القائمة على طبيعة العمل من خلال بيئات، ونفس الوقت اللي هي التقنيات الخضراء واحتمال استراتيجيات التخطيط المستدام وكذلك التكيف مع تغير المناخ، وأيضا التعلم والتوعية اللي هو واحد من النقاط الأساسية أنا أشوفها اللي هو من خلال زيادة الوعي العام حول تحديات البيئة اللي احنا حاليا عشان نتحدث عنها. أمر ضروري دفع تغيرات السلوكي نحو ممارسات أكثر استدامة. أما النقطة اللي هي أنا أشوفها يعني السابعة اللي تتطلب تصدي لتحديات البيئات والتعاون بين الحكومات والشركات ومنظمات المجتمع المدني والأفراد، اللي هي ممكن تساعد على خلق وتشجيع على الابتكار وتنفيذ حلول فعالة على نطاق أوسع. ومن ضمن النقطة الأساسية اللي هي التدخلات السياسية اللي تلعب الحكومة دور حاسم في مواجهة تحديات البيئة من خلال تدخلات سياسية مثل اللوائح المتعلقة بالانبعاثات وممارسات إدارة النفايات أو بعضها للتحفيز أو التوعية في هذا المجال. والنقطة السابعة اللي هي النقطة الأخيرة من ضمن النقاط الأساسية طبعا الإنترنت أوف ثينك يعني بشكل عام هو بالعموم يتطلب التصدي للتحديات البيئات نهج متعدد الأوجه بجمع بين الابتكار والتكنولوجيا والتدخلات السياسية وتغيير السلوك والتعاون بين مختلف أصحاب المصالح. بهذا كل ما يخص طبعا التطبيقات الحقيقية اللي قمت بها وانجزتها خلال الأعوام السابقة في مجال إنترنت أوف ثينك، واللي ذكرتها على عدة مشاريع تطبيقية حقيقية تم بناء بعضها في أحد المؤسسات في دبي وبعضها في الهند وبعضها في جزء من عدها في العراق، وبعض الآخر كان لصالح مؤسسات. هي أغلب تطبيقات يعني تم تنفيذها لمساعدة وبناء خلينا نقول جيل أو نهج مستدام للطاقة النظيفة. هذا طبعا أحد الكتب الأساسية اللي باستخدام الاي او تي، وكذلك أحد الكتب خاصة بي اللي هي تعرض نتائج المستدامة خلينا نقول لخلق جيل مبدع أو منتج في مجال اي او تي أو مجال الابتكار أو مجال الإبداع. أحد الكتب اللي شاركت بها وكتابي الخاص عالم الأردوينو، مكون من 3 أجزاء، حاليا واصل طبعا طبعة 8000، اللي هو احنا ساعدنا به بخلق جيل من المبدعين المهتمين في مجال الاي او تي ونفس الوقت اللي هو مجال الطاقة النظيفة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا لك دكتور فرقد على العرض. ما أظن إنه في أحد عنده أسئلة، بس لو في أسئلة حتكون موجودة بالكيو&اي بوكس. أوكي، ما في. شكرا دكتور فرقد على العرض مرة ثانية.
الله يسعدك. شكرا لك.
هنروح هلا على العرض اللي بعده. We will be going to our next presentation, which will be under the title of PV solar panels cleaning robot by Mohammed Al-Madhoun, who will be providing this presentation. أستاذ محمد، أظن صوتك مو طالع، يمكن ميوت.
السلام عليكم. هيك وصل الصوت إن شاء الله.
عليكم السلام.
أنا بحب أحييكم وأشكركم على أنكم سمحتوا لي أشترك معكم في المناسبة العظيمة اللي من شأنها إن شاء الله تساهم في تحسين وتطور صناعة الطاقة. بخصوص العرض اللي أنا بتكلم عليه اللي هو روبوتات تنظيف الألواح. بخصوص الروبوتات، احنا بنتكلم على صناعه روبوتات تنظيف الالواح الشمسيه في الوطن العربي. ان احنا عندنا فرصه كبيره نكون من الناس اللي بنساهم في ان الروبوتات هذه هي جزء من صناعه تكميليه لمحطات الطاقه الشمسيه، وان نقدر على المنافسه مع الروبوتات العالميه والخارجيه. صناعه الطاقه الشمسيه في السنين الاخيره تطور بشكل كبير جدا، واصبحت كل عام تتزايد نسبه الاهتمام بالطاقه الشمسيه على مستوى العالم، بتزيد بنسب تفوق 10 و 15% في العام، ومن شأنها انها تعمل نقله نوعيه في المساهمه على كوكب الارض، انها تهدي طاقه خضراء نظيفه بتساعد على تحسين الاجواء في الاماكن، وفي معدل نمو كبير للطاقه الشمسيه في الوطن العربي. من شأن الحاجه هذه برضه انها تطور الصناعه بحيث انه تدي فرص عمل جديده في مجال الطاقه، انها بتساهم في انشاء شركات جديده بتصنع تكنولوجيا، بتساهم في التكنولوجيا بحيث انه هي تكون عنصر اساسي، لانه الان المحطات الكبيره في الطاقه الشمسيه فيها عنصر تنافسي كبير، واهم شيء في الموضوع انه انت بتحافظي على مستوى الباور اللي بيطلع من المحطات الطاقه الشمسيه ما ينخفضش يتزايد، تحافظي على الانتاجيه بتاعت الطاقه بحيث ان الطاقه تكون انتاجيتها عاليه ومستقره على المستوى المطلوب لاصحاب المحطات الطاقه الشمسيه. فكان نظره سريعه على الوطن العربي بنلاقي انه حسب الدراسات بتقول انه احسن مكان في العالم في الطاقه الشمسيه هو خط حزام الوطن العربي واسيا بس المشكله انه بيكون فيها غبار واتربه كبيره جدا، وهذه المشكله بتاثر على انتاجيه الطاقه في المحطات اللي بيتم انشائها في الوطن العربي او في شمال افريقيا ومنطقه الخليج. وحسب الدراسات اللي بعض المعاهد والمؤسسات الدوليه عملتها زي ناسا وبعضها كان بيتكلم على اماكن انتشار الغبار والرمال، فكان نصيب شمال افريقيا والخليج حصه كبيره من الانتشار بتاع الغبار الاتربه، باعتبار انها اجواء فيها من الصحراء كتير. بالنظر على إنشاء محطات الطاقة الشمسية، بنلاقي إن في عناصر أساسية في إنشاء الطاقة مصممين المحطات بيهتموا بيها، اللي هي الطبيعة المناخية والطبيعة الاقتصادية وطبيعة الموقع اللي هيتم فيه إنشاء محطة الطاقة الشمسية. فلو بصينا على الطريقة المناخية اللي هي زي انتشار الأتربة والغبار في المكان، العواصف الرملية ونسبة تكررها في العام، نسبة هطول الأمطار اللي بتساهم في تنظيف الألواح الشمسية من الأتربة اللي بتتراكم عليها أثناء العواصف الرملية أو بشكل دوري يومي، اللي هي من الغبار اللي بينتشر في الجو. النظرة الاقتصادية بتكون تكلفة العمالة في التنظيف ومعدل التنظيف، عدد مرات التنظيف، تكلفة المياه، وفرة المياه المستعملة في التنظيف. فبالنظر إلى هذه العوامل بنلاقي إنه في حاجة لابتكار إنه يكون في تنظيف بدون مياه، اللي هو التنظيف الجاف للألواح الشمسية. بيعتمد على روبوتات بتستخدم فرش بيتم استخدامها بشكل دوري، بحيث انها بتقوم بعمليه التنظيف بدون استعمال المياه.
أستاذ محمد، آسفة على المقاطعة بس صوتك شوي بعيد.
بيتحكم فيها برضه طريقه هيك بيكون كويس. بيتحكم فيها برضه انه بيكون طريقه انشاء المحطه، هل هي محطه ثابته فيكسد او تراكنج سيستم بيكون راكب عليها. المديول اللي بيركب نوعه وشكله تركيب المديول بيكون بورتري او لاندسكيب. عدد الصفوف في المحطة، وكذلك عدد الأعمدة والمساحات اللي بيسمح لمرور الوحدات التنظيف من خلالها، اللي هي الجابس الطرق اللي بيتم إنشائها بين محطات الألواح الشمسية، بحيث إنه يتم استخدامها في عملية التنظيف باستعمال الجرارات أو الوسائل المتنقلة لعمليات التنظيف. وفي برضه اسباب اخرى، بس يعني هي اسباب متعدده وبيتم اخذها بالاعتبار في عمليه تنظيف الالواح الشمسيه. طبعا في هنالك تمت دراسه مواقع كتير وطرق تنظيف مختلفه ومتعدده، وفي منها طرق المانوال وفي سيمي اوتوميتد. سيمي اوتوميتد بتستعمل الشاحنات اللي بتقوم بعمليه التنظيف بالمياه والفرش، زي ما نشوف في الصورة رقم 2 اللي هي بتعتمد على جرارات محملة بتنكات مية وعليها فرش متحركة بتقوم بتنظيف الألواح باستخدام المية والفرش، أو بتكون عملية مانيوال باستخدام العمالة، وهذا بيأثر على صحة العمالة، لأنه دائما الأجواء المشمسة بتكون حارة وشديدة الحرارة بالنهار، فعملية التنظيف بيكون فيها نوع من الخطورة على العمالة لتعرضهم للشمس لفترات طويلة. وفي طرق ثانيه اللي هي احنا بنتحدث عنها اليوم، اللي هي طرق استعمال الروبوتات في التنظيف، زي الروبوتات السيمي اوتوميتد اللي هي بتعتمد على العنصر البشري مع الروبوتات، وهي بتكون مستخدمه في الغالب في المحطات ذات القدرات الصغيره، بمثلا من 5 ل 10 ميجا، ممكن يستعملوا فيها الروبوتات السيمي اوتوميتد بالمشاركه مع عدد قليل جدا من العماله. وفي الفولي اوتوميتد زي الصوره رقم 4 اللي هي بتستعمل روبوتات بتقوم بالتنظيف بدون استعمال مياه، بدون تدخل العنصر البشري وبعدم حاجه لوجود العنصر البشري في المحطات الطاقه الشمسيه اللي هي بتستعمل فولي اوتوميتد. بالدراسات اتضح انه الاختلاف بين التنظيف الجاف والتنظيف باستعمال المياه غير لو استعملنا بشكل دوري منتظم يومي، بنلاقي انه المحطه كفاءتها لا تقل عن 99% من انتاج الطاقه المقرره بها، في حين انه احنا اذا استعملنا محطه تنظيف غير منتظم باستعمال الميه برضه بنوصل لنتائج، بس هي ما بتكونش كثيره بعيده. بس اتضح انه الاستعمال الجاف وخصوصا في المناطق النائيه اللي ما فيهاش مياه او تندر فيها المياه النقيه يكون هو الحل الانسب، بحيث ان احنا بنحافظ على مصادر الميه وبنقلل استهلاك الميه في عمليه التنظيف، بحيث ان احنا نستفيد منها في امور اخرى. اتعملت مقارنه دراسه بين وسائل التنظيف المختلفه والاختلاف في استهلاك الميه والقدره على التنظيف. كانت الدراسة بتقول إنه لو استعملنا مثلا وسائل تنظيف باستعمال المياه ومعدات تنظيف زي الصورة رقم 1 جرار مية وخراطيم مية بتنظف الألواح الشمسية بدون فرش، كانت النتيجة ممتازة، بس التكلفة عالية جدا واستهلاك المية كان مرتفع جدا. باستعمال رشاشات غازة وبقلل من استعمال المية، بس التكلفة عالية جدا وفيها استهلاك برضه للمية او هدر لمصادر المية النقية. باستخدام وسائل التنظيف الاخرى كانت التكلفة مثلا باستعمال العنصر البشري اقل تكلفة في التكلفة المادية واقل في استهلاك المية، ولكن جودة التنظيف كانت تقل عن الاخرى. ما قمنا به هو بالضبط انه احنا قمنا بتطوير روبوتات بتقوم بتنظيف الالواح الشمسيه بدون ميه. وفي هناك نوعين اللي هو اللي اتكلمنا عنهم فولي اوتوميتد وسيمي اوتوميتد. قمت بتصنيع تطوير روبوت الفولي اوتوميتد بيستعمل برنامج بحيث ان احنا بنعمل مسائل مختلفه باستخدام الانترنت ابلكيشن او باستعمال الكنترول يونت مخصصه لهذا الروبوت، او من خلال السوفت وير اللي هو يتم ربطه على الكمبيوتر ووحدات التشغيل داخل المحطه. الطريقه هذه تنجح تماما في الفول اوتوميتد مع روبوتات التنظيف، بحيث انه يكون عدد الروبوتات مكافئ لعدد الالواح المصفوفات الشمسيه لتشغيلها بشكل دوري منتظم، ممكن يصل الى مره او مرتين في اليوم الواحد. وكانت نتيجه التنظيف بتاعتها رائعه جدا في المحطات ضد الاغبره والتراب. من طرق اللي قمت بتنفيذها برنامج كنترول بيعتمد على الهيومن ماشين انترفيس. بينزل سوفت وير خاص على تشغيل الروبوتات من خلال الكمبيوتر بغرف ببرامج خاصه على الكمبيوتر يتم تشغيلها من وحدات كنترول، غرف كنترول تحكم داخل المحطه بدون الحاجه لوجود العنصر البشري في تشغيل الروبوت، او من خلال الانترنت ابلكيشن يتم قمنا بعمل البرنامج الخاص بالربط الروبوت مشغل من اي مكان باستخدام شبكات الواي فاي بالتحكم في روبوتات التنظيف وتشغيلها وربط من خلال الانترنت. كذلك تم عمل وحدة كنترول ثالثة تقوم بكنترول مخصص بدون نت، بدون انترنت، بدون استعمال وسائل الربط اللي من خلال الواي فاي او الكمبيوتر. هي وحدة مخصصة فقط لتشغيل الروبوتات بدون الحاجة لوجود كمبيوترات او سوفت وير او انترنت. هذا فيما يخص الفولي اوتوميتد. اما في نوع وهنا في لينكات لتشغيله من خلال كنترول واي فاي او من خلال هيومن ماشين انترفيس كمبيوتر بروجرام. في نوع ثاني اللي هو سيمي اوتوميتد، قمت بصنع روبوتات سيمي اوتوميتد تستعمل برامج ذكيه بدوائر الكترونيه مخصصه امبيدد سيستم تعتمد على نظام ستاند الون بدون الحاجه الى برامج مساعده. هي عباره عن برامج عليها برامج كمبيوتر مايكرو كنترولر تقوم بالتحكم بالكمبيوتر من خلال العنصر البشري، وهي تنجح في المحطات المتوسطه كما يظهر في الصوره. روبوت بطول ذو فرشتين، كل فرشه منهم بطول 4 متر، وهذا الروبوت تم تجربته في احدى المحطات على مدار 4 شهور وكانت النتيجه رائعه. هذا الروبوت يحتاج لتشغيله عنصر بشري من خلال الأزرة التي يتم تركيبها، حيث انه يتم نقله من وحده الى اخرى. هنا صوره للروبوت في محطه تم تجربه تشغيل الروبوت في هذه المحطه بحجم 6 ميجا، يتم تركيب لوحين بطول كل لوح 2 متر بشكل بورتريه على المصفوفه. تم تركيب الروبوت على هذه المصفوفه، تم تركيب الروبوت في هذه المحطه وتقام عمليه التنظيف. هذه صوره للروبوت قبل عمليه التنظيف، وهذه صوره اخرى للالواح الشمسيه بعد عمليه التنظيف باستخدام الروبوت بدون استخدام ماء. مما يظهر من المقارنه بين تنظيف الجياف، فان تنظيف الجياف في الاجواء الصحراويه ناجح جدا، حيث ان الاغبره لا تحتاج الى مياه لازالتها، بس فقط بمجرد استعمال الفرش الجافه بدون ماء يتم تحريك الروبوت بشكل على هذه الالواح اوتوماتيك فتقوم بتنظيف. هذه صوره للمحطه قبل التنظيف وهذه بعد التنظيف. من خلاصة التجارب اتضح أنه عنصر النظافة المستمر بشكل مستمر ويومي للألواح الشمسية يعطي نتيجة مبهرة في التنظيف، ونظافة الألواح الشمسية هي عنصر مهم في نجاح أو فشل المشاريع الكبيرة في محطات الطاقة الشمسية، حيث أن كل ما كبرت محطة الطاقة الشمسية وتخطت مساحتها ال 20 ميجا أصبحت تحتاج لأساليب متطورة في التنظيف وتشغيل المحطة بخلاف الأساليب البدائية، لأنه لو بصينا على التنظيف في حالة استعمال العمالة في المحطات الكبيرة نجد أن هنالك فارق زمني كبير في عملية العودة والوصول إلى تنظيف نفس المكان نفس الألواح مرة أخرى في زمن قصير. فتظهر الحاجة الملحة لروبوتات التنظيف الألواح الشمسية في المحطات عندما تكبر حجم المحطة، حيث أنها تقلل التدخل البشري وتساهم في التنظيف المستمر بشكل يومي متكرر، مما يمنع تراكم الغبار ويحافظ على كفاءة المحطة في إنتاج الطاقة الكهربائية المراد منها. بالنظر على فكرة روبوتات تنظيف الألواح الشمسية، نعلم أن هنالك شركات كثيرة تقوم بتصنيع روبوتات تنظيف الألواح الشمسية، ولكن هي بالنسبة لنا تأتي بدون تدخل نحن نحتاج أن نوطن صناعة التكنولوجيا في منطقة شمال أفريقيا وفي منطقة الخليج، بحيث أن احنا نصبح مصنعين مشاركين في تصنيع وتأسيس المحطات. ويبدو أنه صناعة الروبوتات هي فكرة أو يعني قد تكون ذات عائد جدوى ومفيدة، أنها تخلق موطن لصناعة التكنولوجيا المتطورة، وكذلك أنها تساهم في تعزيز الصناعة المحلية من إيجاد فرص عمل جديدة في مجالات جديدة تكنولوجية تساهم في تطوير التكنولوجيا وصناعة الروبوتات بشكل عام، وتساهم في إيجاد الفرص التنافسية في السوق، وخصوصا أن سوق صناعة الطاقة الشمسية في الوطن العربي سوق واعدة وناشئة ولها مستقبل كبير. وحيث أنه هذه تجربة كانت من نتائجها أن وجد أن الروبوتات التي يتم تصنيعها بشكل محلي لا تقل كفاءة، وإنما تكافئ الروبوتات التي يتم تصنيعها في الخارج، حيث أننا أخذنا بالاعتبار المواصفات التي يتم استعمالها في المحطات من حيث وزن الروبوت وسرعة حركة الروبوت على الألواح الشمسية وحركة وكفاءة الفرش في التنظيف. ولهذا السبب استعملنا فرشتين، حيث أن المرة الواحدة تكافئ مرتين من الروبوتات التي تستعمل فرشة واحدة. فبالنظر على السوق فنجد أنه عنصر الروبوت أصبح عنصر مهم جدا في تعظيم الاستفادة من الطاقة المنتجة من المحطات الطاقة الشمسية والحفاظ على كفاءة المحطة في إنتاج الطاقة المرغوبة فيها. بشكل عام روبوت التنظيف الكهربائي يحقق شروط من متطلبات السوق التنافسية. التكنولوجيا ذات الامكانيات العاليه في مجال الطاقه، حيث انها تستعمل تكنولوجيا البرمجه وتكنولوجيا روبوتكس. نهج العمل الجديد هي سوق جديد يعتبر سوق تكميلي في خدمه محطات الطاقه الشمسيه، وهي بند ذو اهميه في المحطه، حيث انه يتم اثناء انشاء محطه الطاقه الشمسيه الاخذ بالاعتبار وسائل التنظيف وتشغيل المحطة، كيف يتم تنظيف وتشغيل المحطة، ولذلك فهي ضرورة ملحة لم تعد يعني هي أصبحت ضرورة ملحة في محطات الطاقة الشمسية. وهي توقعات النمو السوق هي توقعات كبيرة جدا، وهذا مما يشجع الاستمرار في تصميم وتطوير روبوتات تنظيف الألواح الشمسية. أتمنى إنه يكون الشرح وصل والصوت. أتمنى أنا شاكر أفضلكم إنه سمحتونا بالمشاركة معكم، وأتمنى إنه يكون الشرح وصل وأرحب بأسئلتكم واستفساراتكم.
شكرا لك أستاذ محمد على العرض وعلى المجهود. We will be moving now to our next presentation titled Municipality Facilities Management in the Imperius Cloud. The presentation will be given by Bartosz Marciniak from Promar. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Bartosz, over to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, can you see my screen? Does
I
it
still
work?
see Mr. Mohammed's screen. I'm not
أنا مش عارف، أنا أول مرة أسأل عن البرنامج بصراحة.
ما بعرف ملك لو هو بينفع من عندك ولا لازم البانلست نفسه. I'm not sure, Mr. Bartosh, if you can click share screen from you and then it will automatically close.
It's fine.
كده نفتح فصلت.
Yeah, I clicked share the screen.
Yeah, it's working now. Thank you.
Okay, start. Okay, so I will have a pleasure to talk about the technology and the project which I chosen to be presented during our today's meeting, about how you can integrate data from the existing and newly planned and built buildings within the city. So what we are doing in general as a Promar and the owner of the technology, we transform data into knowledge, and this is our main goal. So the presentation is about energy efficiency, so the facility management in the Imperius Cloud, and as we can all feel all the time, especially for the recent years, the energy prices are increasing, and there is a lack of energy in most of the countries who doesn't own the fossil fuels to produce the energy. So this is the aim of our offer and our technology, and I will present our project which we have developed with the University of London in France, which will show how you can use the advanced data analytics to improve the energy efficiency for the city. So in general, according to the International Energy Efficiency Agency, the biggest potential of saving energy is in buildings, and improving the energy efficiency can decrease the energy usage by 20 up to 40% of the energy in total around the world. So on one side we are working to develop the environment-friendly source of energy, solar panels, wind energy, but at the same time we are wasting lots of energy in our buildings and our cities infrastructure, and this is the aim. We put it into our in our company and our technology to help decrease the usage of the energy, so improve the energy efficiency of the city's facility, because the cheapest energy is the energy we don't use. That's what we proved within our project. And one thing is the price of energy, and the second reason to improve the energy efficiency is to protect the environment and decrease the emission of the gases and all the stuff related with the environmental issues of the energy production and distribution. And it's very crucial now in Europe, where the energy prices, the gas prices increased by 3-4 times recent year. So the topic is quite hot now in Europe and around the world. And what we are doing, we are proposing to make a holistic approach to the process of energy efficiency. So we are not talking only about improving the way the buildings are using the energy for heating, for cooling, for providing the electricity to the devices, but also how the central distributed systems are working. So in general, the pipes, the grids, which are within the city, and we are working with the customer to develop the holistic approach to the energy efficiency for the entire city. So the Smart Cities project, where you can take into consideration all the data which are collected from the city. So the buildings, the grids, the pipes, and all the sources you can find. I will show you in a second how we are doing it, and include in the energy strategies, energy management strategies, also the predictive knowledge. So you can take into consideration the weather forecast and predictive maintenance of the buildings, predictive maintenance of the pipes, and predictive maintenance of the devices, how they are set up according to the conditions which will be present within the next few hours, not which are currently in the building. And we are using artificial intelligence algorithms to predict the situation and the conditions for the next 6 up to 12 hours to make the right decision now and adjust the entire infrastructure in the city to the coming changes and the coming conditions. And within the project, we are using our cloud platform, which allow us to integrate all different kind of existing source of information and buildings, pipes, grids, and we collect all those data into a unified data stream on which we can provide the algorithms which transform data into knowledge, because now it's not a problem to collect the data. The problem is to how to analyze data and make a knowledge out of the data. And that's what we are doing. So the Imperius IoT Cloud is a solution, end-to-end solutions which allow us to connect any building situated anywhere in the world. I will also tell a few words about our project around the globe. And we unify the data stream. And on the unified data stream, we provide advanced algorithms and the tools which allow the operator or the team of researchers to get the right data, the right knowledge from those data, and provide the improvement of the energy strategies, adjustment of the devices and the automation devices, and also predict how to improve and how to renovate the buildings within the entire city or even the entire country. And what is very important, there's one platform which can interconnect all the buildings within one city and all the buildings within various cities. So we have project for specific municipal governments, but we also have some project on the government level. So, for example, we integrate the data from the military bases in Europe, or for the government of Poland, we are also interconnecting the buildings which are situated in all different places in the country. So according to the architecture which allow us to do this, we provide the 6 different pieces of the technology, and each piece interconnect with the other, but they can work also separately. So we have also some projects saying we should integrate data from our, for example, all office buildings in the world for the big American company, and we are interconnecting to the buildings. Doesn't matter whether they have some kind of solutions inside, so building automations systems from Honeywell, Siemens, Schneider, or they don't have any technology inside. We can provide the edge devices and the technology into the building and transform traditional building into the smart one without existing solutions, but we can also connect the buildings with the most advanced and most of the advanced systems, and we unify the data stream from all different kinds of buildings like this. We then we provide the analytical part for the unified data. So you can see, doesn't matter whether you have any standard communication standard inside the building, or you can provide the separated IoT devices or sensors and upgrade the traditional old buildings with the new technology. And what we are doing next with those data, we are providing the functionality of data modeling, AI algorithms, or BIM models. So the new version of our platform can also incorporate the digital twin of the building and get into every detail of the building and analyze how each sensor, each room, each part of the installation is working. And later on, we are doing the modeling, so we can provide any detailed information about each building, but we can also make common knowledge about the group of the buildings and the portfolios of the building. And on the city level or country level, we can provide the KPIs or calculate the KQIs to give the operator the right knowledge about the hundreds of the buildings. Later on the basis of data modeling AI algorithms, we can provide the process management and action management. So we can provide the new energy strategies or management strategies for those buildings. So it's a two-mean communication, and we can provide the scenario management. So if you want to connect data from different parts of the building and to give the new knowledge and the new way of using the building, that's what we allow you to do with our technology. And at the end, you can use and you can start the predictive analysis. So you can predict that some devices will have malfunction. You can predict that some buildings will have some problems according to the weather forecast. So if the temperature will decrease by 10 degrees within 5 hours, then you can have a problems to keep the right conditions in the building, and the platform supports you with those knowledge and give you the hints what to do upfront, not when it happens. And at the end, what is very interesting, we also provide with our solution the so-called apps marketplace. So you can use our functionality, our solutions, but you can come with any other third-party applications to use the data collected from the city and from the buildings portfolio and incorporate your solutions, your functionality into our architecture. And the question is always why we are using this platform, and what is the reason to collect all the data from all different buildings in one place. And the answer is the more data you collect and the more structured way you can use them, you can build the knowledge and the functionality which is needed now and which will be needed in the future. So some part of the data are used now, and some of the data are collected to give you the possibility to analyze them and get the right decision in the future. And here's the example how we can also use the digital twin of the building. So you can see each part of the building. You can walk around the building as well. It's the newest part of the solution, but of course it's only for the new planned buildings and the state of the art. But in most cases we integrate the existing old buildings. So the main goal is to interconnect different kind of buildings within one building's portfolio and to be able to manage them in an efficient way, because as we can we always tell our customers and our partners that you cannot manage something you don't measure. And why we are doing it, this is the project we have developed for Montpellier city jointly with the University of London, the Department of Mathematics and Informatics, which allow us to improve, to provide the improvement of the energy efficiency, centralized heating and cooling system for the city. So we connected to the existing infrastructure. There is the cooling system consisting of 4 closed cooling towers, 4 open cooling towers, and there is around 4.5 megawatts of cooling power for this separate district of the city. And there's also a heating system and heating plant which provide the heat to this district. And the district is combined of different kind of the building. There's a scenarium, there's a hotel, shopping mall, and entertainment center. So there's a high demand for cold and for heat the entire year. And the task which was given to our team was, can we improve the energy efficiency of the entire system? So the production, the distribution, and the usage by the facilities with the use of the advanced algorithms. So we plug into the existing source of data, so the meters, sensors, and automation devices. We started to collect data, and after 1 year of collecting data, we started to implement our AI algorithms. So we started to simulate this new way of adjustment and new way of energy strategies for the source, distribution system, and facilities at the end. And we build a new model how it should be analyzed, the data, and how the different layers of the model should intercooperate with each other. And at the end, we started removing outliers. And after 1 year of work, we provided the new algorithms, which were giving a new setups and new hints for the operator. And after 1.5 years, we started to conquer the operators. So the algorithms get better adjustment of the entire system than the operator with 10 years experience and knowledge. So we beat the existing manual approach of analyzing and using data. And at the end, we decreased the energy usage by over 25% with this separate district of the city. So the total savings are more than 100,000 euros per year, only by analyzing data and getting new knowledge and providing new strategies on the existing system. So we haven't improved any pipes, any part of the hydraulic system, but we just analyze data in a more efficient way and in better way. And in general, we work with most of the cities in Poland, but we also work with the customers in 5 countries on 2 continents. So we have customers in Canada, United States, France, Slovenia. And what we are doing, we are collecting data and providing new way how to analyze those data. And in total, now we are collecting data from more than 2,500 facilities in the world. And in average, we reduce the energy consumption by 25%. And also the number of the facilities give us big advance on the market, because we are all the time building new benchmarking database and knowledge database, because from those facilities, we are collecting data every 16 seconds. All the data about how they are working, how they are using energy, water, and how the installations are reacting to new set points. That's why we can provide the knowledge or the existing knowledge to new buildings which are connected to our platform. So if you connect your buildings to our platform, at start you get the knowledge how common buildings elsewhere in the world are working, and you can adjust your buildings to new set points and get the knowledge from all over the world about new set points. Oh, okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bartosz, for the presentation. So we're supposed to have a Q&A session now. So there are a few questions for you, Mr. Bartosz. I think we can answer them live since it's already a Q&A session. So we have 2 questions, or Ahmed Khalifa has 2 questions for you. The first question is it applicable for outdoor infrastructure, and can it be integrated with CAF and GIS?
Yes, we integrate with all different kinds of infrastructure. So if there is a source of data, we can adjust and integrate with the hardware or any other software to collect the data and get the data and interconnect them. I will also show you one graph. I think I have it here. How we can interconnect all different kinds of data sources into our solution. Oh, okay. Here's the graph. You can see what we are doing. So if it's a third-party system or the existing infrastructure with the BACnet OPC API, MQTT, or we have also our own edge devices which interconnect the traditional so-called old buildings to our platform with traditional measures and devices. And we can also provide the IoT sensors to get the knowledge we need.
Yeah, and Ahmed is also asking if there's any cybersecurity concerns with the platform.
Yes, of course. We meet all the cybersecurity standards. We also work with the big customers like Alstom or ExxonMobil. So we are doing every 3 months the cybersecurity audits and tests, and all different kinds of cybersecurity requirements are fulfilled by our solution. and by devices as well. So we also test the devices according to the cybersecurity issues.
Okay, thank you. Ahmed, I think you're asking for the presentation, the contact details. So the presentation will be uploaded on the website 2 days from now, I believe. So thank you again, Mr. Bartosz, for your presentation, for being with us and sharing your work. We'll be moving now to our next presentation by Mazen Nasser from Enova. The title of the presentation is The Technology of Automatic Control of Energy, Water, and Other Facilities. Mr. Mazen, over to you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, Amira, am I sharing my screen or are you sharing the presentation?
I think if you're able to share it, that's
okay. Yeah, no problem. Just a second.
I think we can also share it in case it doesn't work from your end.
No, it should be fine. Just 1 second. You should be seeing it now, right?
Just a second.
Now.
Yes, it's working now.
Okay. Let me also turn on my camera real quick so you can see me. All right, so thank you for this time slot, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Mazen Nasser. I'm head of sustainability in Enova. Been with Enova for more than 8 years now, and part of my mission here is to lead the digital transformation within the sustainability landscape to serve as a booster and push the boundaries of the services, of the sustainability services that we offer here in Enova. So I'll first set the stage with with some details about the built environment. It's just some statistics and figures that I will not dwell into. I think most of us are already familiar with those. And we all know the importance of why and how important it is that we reduce our emissions and impact on the environment, and also to highlight that we're lucky to be in this part of the world where the leadership is setting very ambitious visions and targets which are in line with the global efforts to preserve the planet, right? So and it has been proven time and time again that implementing these visions and initiatives will no doubt reduce energy and water consumption, as well as conserve natural resources, improve air quality, water quality, preserve our health and well-being, and enhance, generally enhance the quality of life. So with that said, obviously this makes the sustainability activities in Enova very important. We're all trying to make a difference, make an impact, and make a living at the same time. So here's what we're doing in Enova. So I'll first start by introducing a concept that is labeled Hubgrade. So it is Enova's live data monitoring center, which brings together processes, tools, and people skills to identify opportunities and areas of optimization from data that we collect from the facilities. So essentially, it's built in on the idea to bring together technology and human skill for the purpose of environmental and operational efficiency. So obviously, with that said, everything in Hubgrade revolves around data. And here I have what I call the data cycle. So we start in step 1, where we want to collect the data from the facilities that we manage. We want to analyze and extract information that is valuable to us as building operators and as sustainability service providers. we want to relay that information to the team on site so they can take action, and then the cycle starts all over again. So let's zoom into step number 1. So here is where we typically go about installing a gateway within the facility that, where we pick up all the data that we want, that we're interested in from all the digital systems that exist within a facility. That could be a building management system, a chiller plant management system, all sorts of sensors, meters, all sorts of digital systems that exist on site, which typically operate in silos. So typically they do not communicate with each other. What we want to do is bring all of this data onto a common platform, and we want to homogenize the data and make it available and ready to use, to be analyzed and correlated, etc. Now, this comes with its own challenges, of course. You do require a certain digital maturity of the facilities that are good candidates, and your data must be live, clean, structured, and tagged so that it becomes more readily available and easier to work with. So once we have the data on that, on that database, on that cloud, that common platform, we move on to step number 2. So this is where we deploy a combination of skills and tools to analyze the data, right? Data analysis is definitely a big part of the digital activities. Measurement and verification is where we quantify and track the savings in energy performance contracts. I'll talk about EPCs in a bit. Under tools is where we use a variety of applications and systems for data visualizations and reporting. And on the top right-hand corner is what I call the digital boosters. And this is, I'll get into more details on this. This would be more the core of the presentation. Then once that is done, we are able to extract the information that we need. We move to step number 3. And here we have a series of tools where we transfer that knowledge or that information to the team on site, so that they can take the action required in the facility. And that brings us to step number 4, basically where we reap the benefits. So typically we work with large portfolio owners who can benefit simply from convenience, and they can access all their facilities and all of their data from their facilities and from a single platform, from a single login. And their systems are equipped with the right tools to provide the right insights and make the and having the right data and analysis to make quick decisions. And then once step number 4 is done and action is taken, we get the next batch of data, and we will be able to evaluate whether the action was done properly and completely, and what kind of results did we get, and is that in line with what we were expecting. Now, in Enova, we're collecting more than 150,000 points in 5-minute intervals. So we're effectively going through that data cycle almost 300 times per day if we're thinking about 5-minute interval data. So let's now zoom into the digital boosters. Okay, I'll start with the fault detection engine, which is a tool that we've developed internally in Enova. We've built a library of rules or of algorithms. There's more than 500 of them. And these algorithms are deployed on all the data that's coming in. So every 5 minutes, every fresh batch of data goes through a very rigorous fault detection filtering process. And we're able to identify potential faults, potential drifts, possibly improvements and opportunities on the day-to-day operations, as well as the energy and water consumption of the facility. This engine is also integrated with our CAFM system in such a way that when a fault is triggered, it will automatically create a work order in the CAFM, in the computer-aided facilities management system, which then sends a notification to the technician's PDA on site so that they can take appropriate action. And these work orders provide them with enough detail to know where the fault is happening, what is happening, and what are the steps for troubleshooting to rectify the issue. The second one is digital twins. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. It's one of those buzzwords that everyone is talking about these days. But to define it in simple words, it's a virtual representation of a system or of an asset or possibly even a building. And this representation is continuously collecting data and accurately processing that data or the data about its subject, about that system or building, to the point where it can predict responses to changes by simulating what would happen in the real world, right? So imagine if you want to implement a certain change, something that could be quite critical, say, to your chilled water system, right? HVAC is a very big energy consumer. It's always of high interest to reduce your energy consumption. So say you want to do a critical change to your chilled water system, and you're able to view the results and see how your building and how your system would react, even before you possibly jeopardize the system's operation or integrity, or maybe even your occupants' comfort. So the digital twin is essentially supporting in making very critical and sometimes very difficult decisions by simulating what certain changes would and how would they impact the building. The next one is machine learning. That's another one of those buzzwords. So again, let's define it, right, to simplify the topic. It's a form of artificial intelligence. It allows certain software applications to become more accurate in predicting outcomes. And these algorithms typically use historical data as input to predict new output. And with the wealth of the data that we have in our buildings today, and the buildings that exist in this day and age, there are so many opportunities to further optimize specifically energy systems and be able to reduce the energy consumption and improve building operations far beyond what is considered the fixed programming that is typically found in the majority of the BMSs today. So by looking at how your building has performed in the past in certain weather conditions and certain levels of occupancy, machine learning really presents massive opportunities in fine-tuning and in enhancing your operations and improving the building's efficiency. The fourth topic I want to talk about is another thing that we've developed and we're currently working on. It's ongoing automated or continuous automated testing and commissioning. So what we've done is we've built this commissioning toolbox where our system is able to identify potential improvements and identifying issues in the BMS even before they become a problem. So, and we do that by our system being able to trigger control commands to various assets in the building, and we do that during non-operating hours. So we're not interrupting building operations. And the system would monitor the equipment's response and flag anything that could be due to a faulty hardware, faulty communication, a control logic that doesn't make sense. Very simple example, we could send in the nighttime when the air handling unit is turned off, we could just trigger a change of set points. I put the set point at 18 degrees and see how the unit reacts. Like, does the chilled water valve open? Does the fan speed up? What's happening with your dampers, etc. And based on the response from the unit, we're able to flag and identify potential issues in the commissioning of the BMS that could result in further enhancements and optimization of the energy consumption. So now, at Enova, we use these digital boosters in the playground of our service offering, if you want to call it that. So we have equipped our digital boosters with the right infrastructure and high performance cloud databases and the backend infrastructure to allow for easy and efficient deployment. So I'll start with, I spoke earlier about energy performance contracts. So I'll speak a little bit about that. So that's one of our major services in Enova. And typically, when we approach a candidate facility with an energy performance contract model or business model, we target, a certain return of investment or a certain payback based on the requirement, based on the client's condition. And while there exists multiple channels of financing, the underlying concept is more or less the same. There has to be an investment from some party in return for a reduction in energy costs. But now the digital boosters have stepped in, and we've greatly enhanced the performance of our EPCs by, well, one, identifying faults and potential improvements within minutes of their occurrence. As we spoke earlier, every 5 minutes we're doing this automatic fault detection, and thanks to the help of of digital twins, machine learning, and continuous commissioning, we're able to uncover potential for a lot more savings than what we've previously identified during the initial stages of the study. So next is the solar PV, obviously very hot topic in the field of sustainability. And just like energy performance contracts, there are different business models that govern the landscape of renewable energy. But of course, despite the differences between these three models, the requirement to generate electricity as efficiently as possible is common across all three of them. Which is why we deploy, again, for this one, the fault detection engine to ensure that all the strings within the PV system, the inverters, the equipment, the generation in general, the voltage levels, the DC, AC sides, all of that are performing as expected, and that obviously the cleaning activities are triggered at the right time. I'll move on next to the indoor environmental quality. So that's another one of our service offerings. And we're also capitalizing on our digital toolbox to ensure that the indoor environmental quality is providing a safe and a healthy space for facility occupants. We can provide a variety of tools and sensors to monitor and to provide the monitoring service for indoor conditions, along with full reporting and analytics and alerting as well. So again, this obviously feeds into the health of the occupants, the well-being, the the efficiency, the comfort, etc. And here I just put a few snapshots of some of the dashboards that we use when it comes to transparently reporting our performance and transparently reporting all key parameters that we are generating. So the one on the left is for an energy performance contract. Sorry, in this one I had to hide the client names. But the first one for the energy performance contract, you can see how month by month, how the project and how the energy conservation measures are performing, and you can keep track of the full project performance. In the second one, we're tracking in this case, just a simple full kilowatt hour generation and comparing that against the target. And then the third one on the bottom right is for indoor air quality monitoring, where we're monitoring the CO2, VOCs, and the comfort conditions for a facility here in Dubai. And of course, with that comes all the alerts as well as notifications to take action if required. So moving on to just a quick overview of the achievements. I think I'm getting a bit tight on my time window, but to date, so starting from 2017, we have achieved, we have exceeded 470,000 tons of CO2 emissions reduced. So that's and cumulatively from 2017. That is equivalent to a little bit over 100,000 cars driven for an entire year. Let me put that in perspective for you. That's roughly 5% of the cars that are registered in Dubai. So 5% of the registered cars in Dubai are parked on the side of the road for an entire year. This is how much CO2 have been reduced in the portfolio that Enova is managing. So with that, I want to move on to the solar portfolio as well. So we've completed so far 39 solar projects in the region, 28 in commercial sector and 11 in the industrial sector. And with that said, I just want to wrap up with one final thought that, the technology that we're using is simply a tool to help us reach, further or reach, make a bigger impact with the activities that we're undergoing. But it ultimately comes down to all of us working together to address the climate issues that our world is facing today. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mazen, for the insightful presentation. I'm sure everyone found it helpful. We do have actually one question. So Ahmed is asking if you could please clarify the ongoing auto TNC in regard to the fire system.
Sorry, actually, let me just open the chat. That'll probably be sorry, Amira, I can't find it. Can you?
You mean the question?
Yeah.
The Q&A box. I wrote it in the chat. There's another section, but it's in the answered.
In regard to the fire system, that's actually a very interesting use case. We have not. That's a use case we have not yet addressed. Typically, we're targeting sustainability-related topics and energy reduction ultimately, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. Thanks for the thought.
Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Mazen. So we'll be moving now to our next presentation by Arjun Upadhyaya from TAQA Solutions, and the presentation will be titled "Empowering Smart Sustainable Cities and Revolutionizing Energy Management with the TAQA Unified." Over to you, Arjun.
Thank you so much. Let me just go ahead and share my screen.
Yes, sure.
I believe y'all can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Fantastic. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So first of all, thank you so much for giving me this time to talk to you about what we really do in terms of empowering smart, sustainable cities. My name is Arjun. I am heading the technology department at TAQA. TAQA is an ESCO, one of the leading ESCOs in UAE, and our focus is primarily on reducing the energy consumptions and really making assets more efficient and facilities more efficient as a whole. So as Mr. Mazen, the previous speaker, in fact, has already gone through this, it's important for us to really understand, why are we really doing what we are doing? And the key thing over here is to understand really what do we mean by a smart, sustainable city, right? So it's nothing but a city that actually leverages technology to pretty much reduce costs, enhance pretty much the performance and well-being of the occupants, as well as pretty much reduce the resource consumption across the entire city. If we look at it really from a global perspective, it's quite startling, and I'm sure all of us are aware of this. In cities, when we really focus on cities, about 80% of the population is going to be living in cities by 2050, and 75% of planet's resources are just going to be covered by cities, which just cover 2% of the land. Population as well, the urban population is going to increase by quite a bit to about 6.3 billion in just the next 20 odd years as such. The impact, obviously, of this is something which I don't really have to highlight. But if we really focus from an energy perspective and the carbon emissions, in fact, cities would account for about 75% of the entire CO2 emissions. And there is going to be an increased heat island effect as well. Cities would contribute to a 10 degree Fahrenheit, would be in fact 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer as compared to any of the rural areas. Here in UAE, we do face the same challenges as well. Our population over here has seen a 300% increase in the past 3 decades. And in fact, as we all know, in fact, our carbon emissions per capita are quite high. It's about 22 metric ton. It's double pretty much what the world average, in fact, is. But we are lucky to be here in UAE. There are, in fact, lots of commitments, a lot of pledges which have actually been made. And smart cities in general, smart sustainable cities can reduce emissions by almost 15%. UAE has set some pretty good targets, 40% cut in carbon emissions by 2030. And we do have, in fact, the National Energy Strategy as well of 2050 to go net zero by 2050. So these are really good. And obviously COP28 is happening this year with a lot more interesting commitments and pledges really to be made in the coming years. Now, what's important, in fact, is to understand really how do buildings impact carbon emissions in total. About 39% of the total global CO2 emissions is accounted by buildings, of which 27%, in fact, is from building operations. As TAQA, our focus is, in fact, to enhance how buildings actually operate, to reduce the energy consumptions over there, and contribute to reducing that 27% that we actually see. An interesting stat over here is, our global building floor space, the floor area is expected to double by 2060. So that pretty much adds up to about a New York City being added every month for the next 40 years. So it is quite significant, and cities would really be occupying a lot of our space and really contribute to CO2 emissions as well quite a bit in the coming years. Now, if we really talk about smart, sustainable buildings, what really drives us to smart, sustainable buildings? It's not just about, switching to renewable sources of energy. Obviously, that is a key element in reducing our emissions and really making sure we're more efficient. But it also, an equal part of this, in fact, is to make sure that we can optimize the efficiency of every asset in the facility. And the answer to that, as highlighted by a lot of the speakers previously, is data, right? Everything, in fact, relies on data that we receive from every asset from every facility, from every sensor, which is actually installed at that particular facility. When we look at smart buildings, it's all about leveraging technology. And as TAQA and as energy, in fact, here in UAE, one of the key elements is the HVAC systems, the cooling systems, which are actually over here, which includes the chillers, the AHUs, and so on and so forth. But there are obviously a lot more other sort of assets that we actually connect to in a building. Water tanks, the pumps, the cooling towers, occupancy sensors, obviously the lighting systems, there are irrigation systems, the LPG gas tanks, so on and so forth. So that we are in fact able to connect to each of these assets, which are actually there in a facility, and leverage multiple technologies on top of that. So IoT, I will in fact get into each of these shortly, but all of these in fact are then connected to the cloud, in which we actually then leverage a lot more technologies such as AI, blockchain, BIM models, digital twins, so on and so forth, in order to drive the agenda of energy efficiency. But really now what really happens over here is IoT is really the basis, and it's really the concept, in fact, which defines connectivity from an edge device to the cloud for monitoring, analysis, and controlling. This is really the first step that anyone really needs to do if they really want to make their building smart. Right, so you've got to go ahead, install your sensors, make sure you have the right gateways over there. And now there are multiple ways in which data can be transferred to your cloud application. MQTT is the standard protocol for IoT now to transfer data in a bidirectional way from your site, that's from your gateways, which you actually have over there, to your cloud. But you also have alternate cellular technologies like NB-IoT or LoRa, which enable the actual sensors itself to communicate with cloud. LoRa obviously needs a certain gateway, but NB-IoT enables a direct connection from those edge devices directly to the cloud. With all this data that we actually collect, the next part, in fact, then is to start analyzing that. And what really happens over here, as highlighted again by the previous speakers, was we use something called BIM and digital twins. So BIM is the building information modeling system, and digital twins really enables us to simulate what really happens in a particular facility. Now, we as TAQA, in fact, we collect about 1.3 million data points on a daily basis. Some of them are on 15-minute intervals. Some of them really go down to a minute basis, depending upon really what's the use case that we actually have over there. Once we actually do all of the BIM modeling, as well as we set up the digital twins, and with all of the data that we actually have accumulated as such, big data analytics and AI, in fact, come into play. The idea of really using this is primarily, as TAQA, what we use it for is to augment our human decision making. As TAQA being an ESCO, we have our M&B teams who monitor, who verify, who measure, in fact, all of this data, and who come out with all sorts of energy saving measures or conservation measures, which can actually be implemented in a facility. AI helps us to augment that, to really push this further on the basis of data, to identify patterns, to model all of this, and to suggest really what can be done, and to dynamically change set points, for example, within accepted parameters on a real-time basis. So we're shifting away from basic schedules, which used to be there before, to really dynamically changing it based on multiple factors, and obviously based on the results that actually come out from AI. Forecasting and predictive analytics is also a very important thing over here. With all of the data that we actually collect, we are now able to start forecasting what could be your energy consumption in the coming, let's say, month or two, depending upon the data which we actually collect as such. ML models, again, a subset of AI, can actually be created to further push this. And predictive analytics, that's over here, which then comes under fault detection, fault detection pretty much, is where faults can actually be detected based on not just logic which we actually have or advanced rules which we actually have, but also on all of the data and the patterns which actually have been identified. Now, in some cases, blockchain is also used when we talk about leveraging technology for smart buildings. Its application is quite early. It's in its early stages as such. Primarily, this is being used in renewable energy certificates, energy transfers, really in a decentralized system, and it's primarily used for in the solar side as such. Okay? Now, the difference between smart buildings and smart sustainable buildings is there is in fact a key element over here. Smart buildings can be done by actually installing all of the technology which we've actually which we've actually gone through. But in order to really make a building a smart sustainable building, a key thing over here is collaboration. And what do we really mean by collaboration? Collaboration, in fact, obviously comes from policies, from external collaboration between the government agencies, the different organizations which are actually there, the MNCs, so on and so forth, and internal. Now, when we talk about internal, this is something which we have, in fact, as TAQA, identified with all of the facilities which we have audited, the energy efficiency measures which we have implemented. And the key things which we have identified over there is that there's always a disconnect between three key departments in an organization. Business have their own objectives, sustainability teams have their own objectives, and operational teams, the FM teams, have their own objectives. Each of them usually have been identified to be working in silo without really seeing a holistic picture of the entire pretty much operational part of it, and each of their objectives really to be met. So what we really do, in fact, is at TAQA, we try to unify all of those objectives into one integrated energy platform, and we have a set process as to how we actually go about getting a company or getting a facility to really be on track for achieving a certain level of energy efficiency. The first thing, in fact, that we do is we have a system which is called as the utility bill management system. It's very important to identify how has the facility been performing. If it's a new facility, great. You get to actually installing meters there and you start really gathering real-time data. But a lot of the facilities, almost 80% of the facilities which are going to be constructed are going to be there for the next few years, or have been there, from the last few years as well. So it's important to understand how have they been performing thus far. The utility bill management system, in fact, enables that to happen, wherein, in a click of a button, we're able to extract all information from historical invoices and really project that to give pretty much an analysis of which fuel type is really being used, when have been the peaks, the drops, and the performance of the entire portfolio as a whole. Once that's been identified, we then get to the real-time metering, right? So we now know, in fact, the performance of it. We are able to figure out certain baselines. And then we get to real-time metering, where we install meters. We have our own gateways as well, or we can work with other gateways as well, in order to then transmit this real-time metering data from the MDB, SMDB levels all the way up to our platform for, again, further analysis and to feed pretty much all the models and the knowledge base which needs to be there. The real-time asset performance comes next. We're then able to identify exactly which are those MDBs, SMDBs, which are really not performing, and we can then identify the assets connected to them, and then we get to really monitoring as well as controlling this. Now, monitoring and controlling of these assets are obviously based on multiple models, which are created based on the data which is actually collected. With all of this information, in fact, this gives us then the ability to benchmark all of these facilities against each other, as well as against pretty much the entire sort of portfolio which we as TAQA have, all of the different types of facilities categorized by their type, by their square feet, by their occupancies, by their assets, so on and so forth. So you really get then a sort of a score as to how your facility is performing as compared to your portfolio, as well as the portfolio which we actually have as a whole. Now, one of the key things over here is like the power up, or what we call as the add-ons. And this is like the marketplace. We understand that every business functions differently. So we have the marketplace wherein we actually add different add-ons, such as the budget module, the solar module, an AI module for specific elements as such, an advanced reporting module. All of this, in fact, should align with either business operations or the sustainability objectives. And based on the different businesses and their requirements, they can opt in for the same. Now, a few quick snapshots, in fact, through our platform, we really give you that ability to see a bird's eye view, drill down all the way down to the bottom. The UBMS module gives you the ability in a click to really analyze how you've been performing to date. Energy analytics and an MNV tool, in fact, is a key part of our particular platform. Again, we being an ESCO, we use our own platform, in fact, to try and leverage all sorts of pretty much deliver all sorts of energy efficiencies for our customers. Real-time energy operation analysis is in place. As I said, we benchmark which facility is internal as well as external, and we really provide an integrated energy platform for our customers. making sure that business, sustainability teams, as well as the operations team can all use one platform and really understand how each of their operational part of it have an impact, not just on the cost, but also from an energy consumption standpoint. Now, what are some of the key things that one actually has to look at when they're looking for an energy platform out there, or to really leverage technology to try to reach a certain amount of energy efficiency? There are quite a few systems which are out there. So it's really up to, a couple of things which we as TAQA have identified. The first thing, in fact, is platform availability. It's very important that your platform, in fact, is available, or the platform is available almost throughout the time. At least it has to be up for 99% of the time, because if your platform is up as such, you can make sure that your analysis as well is on track. Vendor agnostic, you should move away from anything which is proprietary in nature to really open up to multiple protocols. So on the field level, it should support all sorts of protocols like BACnet, Modbus, MBus, so on and so forth, as well as, in fact, to transmit that data up via MQTT or any other alternate IoT technologies. And also from there, to transfer the data then to third-party applications via APIs. It should be open and it should be vendor agnostic completely. Reliable and a secure data collection. This is very, very important in today's day and age. Data being transmitted from your site to your platform back to your site has to be secure, and really has to, and that's something which you need to really make sure when you choose your energy platform. Data ownership is a key thing, especially with the policies which are coming about. As such, we need to make sure that the data resides preferably within UAE. It would be important if your company is based over here, it'd be important that the data resides here and the ownership completely is with you. Historical data, it's important that there is no cap in terms of historical data. At least at TAQA, we believe that more the historical data that we have from an invoices standpoint, from the data that we actually collect, it should be unlimited and uncapped, so that more analysis and more in-depth analysis can actually be conducted. In terms of features, obviously monitor, analyze, and verify each of the savings which have actually been achieved. It should be modular and scalable. Analytics goes without saying, a lot of the systems which we have, in fact, today are capable to do some advanced analytics and really present this in a holistic sort of a manner, as well as it has to be in a simplified manner so that every stakeholder can really understand what's going on in the facility. Integration capabilities is a must, as I mentioned, and open data sharing. You should be able to push this data to any third-party application, or even have a third-party application push data into this particular application. Continual updates. No system should be stagnant. It has to receive its continuous updates on a regular basis. Now, as TAQA, in fact, our mission towards sustainable cities is to pretty much leverage technology and also our other key pillars of finance and engineering to try and assist every possible company, every possible facility out there to transition their facilities to be more energy efficient. A few stats, in fact, 92 million in terms of kilowatt hours is what we have saved. On an average, in fact, we see about 21% in energy savings across our portfolio, amounts to 37 million dirhams in savings, which we have been able to achieve. The stats for it are in fact, in terms of tree seedlings, in fact, which we have actually been able, or what it equates to, or in terms of the CO2 reduction, are there, in fact, for you to see. Now, most recently, in fact, we did a project for RSA, and we leveraged not just, in fact, the technology that we have in-house, but also the services that we offer in terms of M&B energy savings and so on and so forth. And also, in fact, our sister company for solar installations. RSA is, in fact, a company which has warehouses, and we were able to, in fact, get them to net zero over the period of time. 21% in energy savings, 1.3 million kilowatt hours in savings as well. And this was, in fact, chosen to be the net zero project of the year as well. All right. So as TAQA, in fact, we are driving the mission for energy saving, and we absolutely are leveraging technology which we build on our own. This is completely in-house and based on our expertise in this field. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajahn, for the presentation, for joining us today. I don't think there are any questions at the moment in the Q&A box, but we'll address them if anyone writes any questions anytime.
Sure.
I just want to check if Mr. Hasham Omar is in the room. Because our next presentation will be given by Hasham Omar from Ambient Environment.
Yes, so while he's joining, I'll suggest we'd like to know people more. So, and now you will have on your screen a question bubble, where we would like to learn from which country are you following us today. بدنا نسألكم من أي بلد أنتم معانا اليوم، فراح يطلع على الشاشة عندكم هسه السؤال. شاركونا من أي بلد أنتم حاضرين. Interesting. المعظم من الميدل إيست، Levant countries and GCC.
طالع عندك ال results? I can't see them.
Yes, it will be shared now. Just from the. Okay, so we will end the poll now. You can see the results on your screen. Most of the attendees are from GCC and Levant countries, Egypt, Sudan, and Iraq. Nice to meet you all, and it's a huge pleasure to have you. معظم النتائج كانت عندنا من دول الخليج، من منطقة بلاد الشام، العراق، مصر والسودان. عندنا برضو عدد لطيف من تونس ومن المغرب. فيا أهلا وسهلا بالجميع. Most of people were asking about the presentations and were asking about the recordings. You can find them on the link that I'll share now. Presentations will be uploaded 2 days after the event ending, يعني after tomorrow inshallah. For any other questions, we would love to answer it. And you can contact the conference team on our emails as we were contacting you earlier. راح أشير معاكم الرابط اللي تقدروا من خلاله توصلوا للبرزنتيشنز وتسجيلات وتسجيلات الجلسات. يا أهلا وسهلا بالجميع. يا أهلا وسهلا. Back to you, Myrna. أو أميرة, sorry.
Thank you, Malak. بس ما بعرف لو you can see Hasham Omar, our next presentation in the room, or if he was able to join the link.
Okay, we are checking now. ثواني. We can move to the next speaker وبعدين نرجع له بما أنه عنده مشاكل بالانضمام.
خلاص, okay, تمام. Thank you. So our next presentation will be delivered by Dr. Patrick Bolimowski. Dr. Patrick, our current presenter, is having some issues joining the link. So if you don't mind, we'll be moving to a presentation and then we'll go back.
No problem. Thank you. If you don't mind, I will share my presentation with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
It looks like I'm having some trouble with sharing my screen. Is there any chance you could share the material I sent you some time ago?
Yes, I think we can share it from our end. Malak, I'm not sure if, can you do it from your end? Do you have his presentation?
A few seconds.
Okay, thank you.
Can we try to share your screen while we are again, if it could be done? Does it work?
No, it doesn't work actually. I'm sorry for it.
Okay,
I
just
send you my material, so if you could support me with it, it would be great.
okay. I'll share it in a few seconds. You can start while we are, if you want.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Patrick Bonimowski. I am the R&D manager at System3E. So before you see the material, I will give you some short introduction to what we do at System. Because System3 is a company that specializes in manufacturing of construction materials. We are based in Poland, and we operate also in Europe, but we think globally. We have some innovative products, and I wish to share some insights about our products with you. We don't have the material, but I think I can just talk about it. I'm sure that you all agree that a sustainable city is not only about how we generate energy, how we manage these resources, and how we optimize our operations with smart technologies. We have to think also about simple things like construction of our buildings, because our cities are growing. Every year in Europe is built about 1 million new houses. The same number is built in the US, and I believe a similar number of new houses is built in GCC countries. So all of the buildings require some new materials and new, right, like concrete, like ceramics, and whatever you need to build such house. We came up with a different solution to build houses, like Lego fashion. The technology is truly sustainable in many ways, because it cuts your carbon footprint, and also it cuts your water footprint, not on the operational level of your building, but on the initial level, so before you start living in the building. We proved that so far that our technology can decrease your carbon footprint of end products, so you're building about 20%. It also cuts your water footprint, not the operational one, but the initial one, for about 33%. So that's huge. You don't need water while construction such building, and that's pretty much it. So is there any chance you have this material?
Yeah, it is just being downloaded now in a few seconds. Sorry
No
for
problem.
the technical issues.
I'm actually trying to share it from my screen, but it's saying that my screen share is loading. Just a few seconds.
Okay, I'll start sharing now.
Oh, it works. Perfect. So we can leave it like this one. So System3E is about sustainability, self-insulating jointless construction system. And this is the only system available to customers in the world. If you could go to another slide, the second one. As I said, you will all agree definitely that smart cities is not about only managing our energy, water, and whatever is needed to live in such city. It's also about the technologies we use to build our new buildings. And thinking about traditional technologies, we usually pour concrete, we glue some elements, we use some water to construct such objects. Also, we can find some technologies based on 2x4s with insulating materials. Go to the next slide, please. All of these are actually not efficient at the initial stage. So was the result actually construction industry strongly contributes to climate changes, and we all see the problems. Our technology is competitive in terms of decreasing the environmental pollution. We save water. We also created a material that is thermally insulating and also generates less greenhouse gas emissions, not only on the production stage, but also for new buildings, because all of its characteristics contribute to create a good climate in terms of warmth, acoustics, and everything that contributes to your well-being. Go to the next slide, please. We did some market research, and we know that the construction industry all over the world has the same problems. So labor intensive processes and operations, processes that usually are made on the outside. So when it's sunny and hot, or when it's cold and windy, and that all causes problems. And go to the next slide, please. It also contributes mostly to your expenses. Here is a slide where I show you how construction materials developed over many years. So many years ago, we were building out of wood, and then we switched to ceramic bricks. After that, we used some stone blocks. Aerated concrete is the last advancement in the construction industry, and it's actually about 100 years old. In 2023, we came up with this new solution, which is called System 3E. It's actually innovative because we combine some smart shape that gives you the possibility to erect your building in Lego-like fashion. We use perlite as the base material, which is a volcanic rock sourced from the ground, expanded. It's lightweight, and it gives you all the properties with thermal insulation, with acoustic effectiveness, and it's also fireproof. We also have advanced production process, because if you think about Lego bricks, you have to ensure that all of the Lego bricks are high quality and have the same dimensions. So we cannot use blocks with different dimensions. So our production process is so precise that each element that we manufacture is alike, and they assemble perfectly. Go to the next slide, please. Jump to the next one, please, again. So our technology is inspired by nature. So all of the advances you can see in this product are actually based on what we observed in nature. Yes, so we observed that entrapped air gives you all the characteristic of sustainable product for new buildings, right? The taper which is used to join these elements is actually also a matter of nature that was present in our other materials for many years. We jump to the next slide. We can use our material not only to single family houses, but also we can use this product to any type of building. At the end of the day, your building is eco-friendly, is load-bearing, so you don't have to support your building with some concrete pillars, and you don't have to use this concrete supporting structure. It's also fire resistant, so the fire classification gives you the comfort of safety. And it's also energy efficient. We proved that our product is a perfect solution for any type of building in terms of standardization, in terms of energy efficiency. So the passive houses can benefit with the product with no insulation. Also, some standard houses like energy efficient with usage of about 70 kilowatts per meter square are also fine to go with this material. This technology is also fine to combine with other smart solutions like HVAC systems with IoT sensors, and actually it's perfect to be optimized to deliver any standard you need. At the end of the day, we also showed that to our customers because we built already so far about 100 new houses out of this material, and we showed that with less expense with this material, you can get higher energy standard. Go to the next slide, please. There was only structural and insulating element made of perlite. This is the source of our properties. It's perlite. It's actually a common material that you can find in many countries. It is a volcanic rock. The most of these raw materials you can find in Turkey, also in Balkans, in the United States, and also in GCC countries. If you can find some sources. In the future, we're thinking about expansion of our business model, but not only on the side like we manufacture in Europe and we export our product, but we're thinking about setting up new factories in different countries. So we also consider GCC regions and actually bring this technology closer to the society. Please go to the next slide. But the key thing that is that you don't have to use a perlite to manufacture such fancy shape. You can use some standard concrete, or you can use some standard materials based even on oil, like polymers. So you can fit to your solution. So it's not a limitation. The key feature is that the shape gives you the possibility to dry stack your building. At the end of the day, we have a dry stack construction, and to the best of my knowledge, this is the only dry stack construction or material available globally. So this is why it's so interesting. Assembly. We already proved that using this product, you can save about 25% of your expenses on construction. So it's quite a lot. No synthetic insulation, but the version that we designed in Europe, because European community as the one in GCC countries is aware of the need of sustainable development. Therefore, only green technologies are necessary to be present in the market. Eco-friendly construction by reducing the waste, because you don't have to put an ethics system on the outside. I mean, the thermal insulation, also you don't glue these elements, so you reduce amount of mortars used on your construction. The whole process is getting greener. Go to the next slide, please. It's not only one block. The system comprises of about 70 different shapes and types, but the basic ones you can see over here. So we get lots of questions how many building blocks we can manufacture. Actually, as many as you like, and in as many shapes as you wish. Actually, to build a simple object with only flat walls, you need only these 6 elements. Other benefits are that your corners are always, let's say, straight, right? And your walls are always straight, so you don't have to put lots of work on plastering works, and you can use some BIM tools to design your interior before you actually make your building happen. Go to the next slide, please. So all the processes on design works and also on the construction side are simplified. Here are some key values. I actually covered them before, so please switch to the next one. The system is modular. I think this is quite important today because mostly thinking about tools that you use to design your building, like BIM tools, so building information modeling. Designers usually struggle with ordering or maybe choosing the right construction materials for your building. So our elements are unified. We have some BIM tools helping designers to design such building and optimize everything that is necessary. Also, to calculate number of elements is made simplified by using such tools. So it's actually integrated pretty well with the design methods and techniques that are used by designers globally. Please, next slide. Our IP is covering most of the world and developed world, and we also thinking about expanding our countries like USA, China, India, and also GCC countries. So places where the sustainable development is happening. But as I said before, we can use any material to manufacture such unique shape, independence on the local requirements, on technical approval for such building. We can use different materials and source them locally, so the value chain is simplified, and the value chain is getting cheaper as well. Go to the next slide, please. Next one, this is only the table of contents. Here is the whole ecology coming with the product, just to give you some heads up. 2/3 lower carbon footprint for 1 square meter, but thinking about the whole building is slightly less. 100% of perlite waste can be recycled. So we're thinking about, well, we are not thinking about, but we're talking about the circular material. So after the whole life cycle, this material is not getting into be a waste, right? Because it can be reused as a new building block, or maybe can be grinded and used as a base material to manufacture new elements. And go to the next one, please. Here is the water footprint in contrast to other popular elements that you use to build your houses these days. So autoclaves, aerated concrete, silicates, ceramics, and System 3E, calculated for 1 square meter of a wall. You see that we use only 83 liters of water, considering not only the process on the construction side, but considering the life cycle from the production to construction, right? So with plastering on the inside and rendering on the outside, you see that we use at least the least number of water in contrast to other materials available in the market. In the next slide, you will see carbon footprint. Thank you. On this slide, you see the carbon footprint of our solution when it's compared to other popular elements and type of walls built these days. System 3 is a single leaf wall, so you don't use any attic system on the outside, no insulation, no PS insulation, no mineral wool on the outside. What is happening these days in the industry, we usually take some autoclave aerated concrete ceramics, and we put some XPS foam or mineral wool on the outside. So all of the combined gives you some thermal transmittance. You see that System 3 is right in the middle between them. So it's actually combining both of the properties, load bearing and thermal insulation, with little carbon footprint if you compare it to other materials. If we jump to the next slide, just to finish it off. If you use such technology, there's a single leaf, and it doesn't matter if it's our technology or maybe the other one, which you can find, which is glued, you will see that the waste is reduced to actual minimum, because if we compare our technology and from our experience, building a house with System 3E and building a house with some traditional technology, we can reduce about the waste generated on the construction site by 80%. If we compare it to other single leaf walls, it's about 40%. And we talk about mostly here waste of the chemistry that you use to glue your elements, or maybe some scrapes of your ethics systems, and also packaging that is actually always related to your delivery. Next slide, please. As I said before, when this slide, when the presentation was not on, our technology as it is suitable for any type of building in terms of energy efficiency. A++ classes and A+ classes are actually fine to go with System 3E with no ethics system, and you can combine it with any smart system that is available in the market. So it gives you the opportunity to actually not over design your IoT systems, or maybe using your data because you don't because your systems are usually not efficient. If we jump to the next one. Next one, please. All of the advances, just to give you some heads up, is the thinnest wall and the warmest wall available in the market globally, as we see the product these days. So if you compare it to other materials, you will see that it's not necessary to insulate it. And with the thickness of 35 centimeters, this is quite, well, it's not much. Next one, please. Next one, because this is some comparison. It's anti-seismic as well, because the technology, when it's assembled, you see that it's not glued in a traditional way. It's joined in a Lego-like fashion. So all of the properties of a finished product, which is a wall, are not governed by the connection between your mortar and your building element. We show that all of the properties of our walls are governed by the material properties. And if you talk to your construction designer, I'm happy to share some materials, some technical data, how these walls perform in practice. And construction designer will say that, okay, this is true because all of the properties in terms of compression strength, or strength to loadings like wind, are actually governed by the not by the connection between elements, but by the material properties. It's actually something different that construction designer have to consider usually in the industry. Can we go to the next one? No, it's not necessary. We're not gonna to show it. It's a comparison for you between some standard technologies. It's not only between some standard bricks, but also we have many advantages if we compare System 3E to some frame construction or maybe modular construction, because in contrast to frame construction and modular construction, you don't have to use some materials that you can assemble on the construction site only during some nice weather. And in terms of modular construction, you don't have to use some heavy machinery to bring all the elements. So thinking about this technology, it can be assembled by some standard workers with no qualification after some short training. It's so simple, and we proved that in Poland and also in Spain and in the UK, that people with little training can use this material in practice, and you need any heavy machinery. The next slide, please. Construction time, I think it's not necessary to discuss it, but a finished wall can be assembled in 78 minutes with plastering and rendering, but assembling a 1 square meter of such wall is about 4.5 minutes, and in contrast to other materials, is way less. It gives you many benefits on your construction operations, and we see that with a single family house, you can save about 25% of your operational cost. And we show that with commercial buildings, finishing off a discount object, you can start selling your products quite well quicker. So the product, even this is a house or maybe this is some commercial building that has to operate in some different way, the service can be available to your customer way quicker. The next one, please. Cooperation with one of the biggest chain of grocery stores, and this is what I said. We built several buildings of Lidl discount in Europe. We showed that you can shorten the time of delivery such building by from 20 to 25%. Independence on other conditions and logistics. It gives you many benefits when such building is operating, because you just make it available to your customer way quicker. The next one, please. What we're planning in the future? In the future, we're planning to be in many countries. So we initiated our first talks with Canada, with US. We are present in Europe. We also initiated some initial talks with representatives from GCC countries. We so far delivered our material to most of the countries in Europe, to Korea, to Japan, to Turkey, to Greece, to the US. We haven't done it in GCC, so if anyone is interested in trying such technology and saying if it's working properly for you, we are happy to talk about it. Jump to the next one, please. And here are some examples of what we achieved so far. Over 160 completed projects in Europe, including this single-family detached houses and also commercial objects. So this slide shows you that you are not limited to some simple objects, but you can build complex buildings with modern functionality. So it's fine to go with any type of building if you wish. We can jump to the next slide and we're going to finish it off. If you want to know more about our activities in Europe and what can be done with System 3E and what are the real benefits and practice, because we have this practical experience as System 3E, you can find us on our social media, and all of the links are in this material, and I'm sure this material is going to be shared with you. I hope I haven't crossed the time much. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for having us here at the conference. I was so happy to present my company and our solution that is really competitive in contrast to other traditional ones. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such an amazing presentation. Actually, I think people were asking if we will upload it, so I'll answer them yes, it will be uploaded on our website. We received one question about the structure of the concrete. Is it aerated concrete or not?
No, it's not aerated concrete. It's something competitive. It's a material that is based on perlite. It is actually a mix of lightweight aggregate, expanded perlite, and mineral binder. You shape this material in presses. So the same way you manufacture body parts of BMWs or Mercedes cars, the same way we manufacture our building blocks, and here comes the precision. But in terms of the material, it's a type of lightweight concrete. It's an ultralight concrete, which is made of lightweight perlite and mineral binder.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would like to kindly ask you to share your email to the attendees on the chat, which would be far better. Thank you so much, Dr. Patrick. It was a pleasure having you. Now moving to our next speaker, Mr. Hashim Omar. Mr. Hashim Omar will talk to us about helping rural communities to bridge the energy gap. Mr. Hashim, you can share your screen. Welcome with us. You are muted if you can. Okay, you are muted if you can open. Yeah, better now.
Hello.
Hello, if you can just come a little bit closer to the mic so we can hear you well.
Okay, let me try to share my screen.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Let me try to share. I'm still trying to. Sorry, still trying to share the screen.
Would you like us to share it from our side?
Yeah, sure. I would love that.
Okay, just a few seconds. If you'd like to introduce yourself while we are opening the presentation.
Okay. The screen hasn't come on yet.
Yeah, 1 second. It is being shared now.
Okay.
Just 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, sure. I can see it now.
Just let me know when you want me to go to and jump to the next slide. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Hashim Abubakar Umar. I'm the Managing Director of Ambient Environmental Council Limited. We operate from the multi-city airport in Nigeria, Abuja, Kaduna, and some part of northern Nigeria. And being in the business of renewable energy, we normally provided energy in rural area, and we see the huge gap that really existed between how cities are connected to energy in terms of general concern of energy and rural and renewable energy. You will agree with me that in Nigeria there is about the gap is about 80% in rural in urban areas, where it's just about 20-point-something% in rural areas, and the gap is really huge. And what these people are trying to manage, how they can come out with energy need. And you know that in rural communities there is really a significant gap, and that gap is widening. We are not closing the gap yet. We are lagging behind trying to close this gap, and this energy deficits poses numerous challenges for these communities. It is impacted in almost all aspects of their life, their education, healthcare, and economic development. You see that students cannot use common devices because there is no power to charge those devices. And you see a healthcare facility where they cannot even operate their basic diagnosing equipment. And you see an economy that really needs small an amount of energy to prosper, but due to the lack of energy to connect, you see that they will have to let that go. And you will all agree with us that the gap in rural community doesn't only exist in Africa. It cuts across nations, regions, and boundaries. And you see that over 1 billion people have no reliable power supply. that you see that in sub-Saharan Africa, about 70% of the population lack access to basic electricity, while about 85% of them live in rural areas. And you see that in South Asia, about 50% have no access to electricity. And you see that why all this gap? Why this gap existed? This gap existed because of mostly you see companies installing energy do this for profit. And if you are far away from the national grid, you see that it will become difficult for companies to access you and deliver energies. And government rely on generating energy in cities because of the intense use of energy in the cities. And you see that there is no supporting infrastructure to take this energy to rural areas. And it takes a lot of investment to do that. So companies and government tend to shy away from that responsibility. And you see there is a consideration of low population. If there is, if the population density is really low in a place, you see that consumption rate is low also. And there are issue of difficult terrain. There are places that they really need this energy and their population is up to why they will need this energy. But you see that terrain that is in terms of topography and geography will prevent all this energy to get to them. And the big question is that the solutions, what are the solutions to this problem? Because we know that this problem existed. We are in the field, we are trying to see how we can bridge the gap. So what is the solution now? The solution is that to address these challenges, seriously, there is need for critical implementation of sustainable energy solutions that can be reliable and really help the rural community to access energy. And the only sustainable solution that existed now, you will see that is the renewable energy in terms of wind energy or solar energy. Solar energy really proved to be a decent and clean alternative to energy need, especially in the rural area. You will all agree with me that it's only in the rural areas that you will get a vast space, the abundant sunlight throughout here. You see the solar energy system can be easily installed in rural areas due to the smaller demand of energy. And you will see that apart from installation issue, there is also it will also contribute to minimal reliance on fossil fuels. And you see with solar energy, you can power schools, you can power small businesses, you can power healthcare facilities. You will encourage a lot of energy access and bridging the gap using solar. So it has a lot of benefits, really. Over the years, you see that rural communities can access clean energy using the reliable energy solar. You see that it's improved quality of education. It will also enable these health facilities to prosper and really access the energy that they will need for operation. And you see that it reduced dependency on excessive pollutants, oil, and also there is a general inclusive outcome where you see that the potential to transform lives of rural communities. Definitely, if there is a reliable energy, you see that it will assist these rural communities to prosper and maybe have a decent life, and it will bring that all inclusiveness, the kind of field among where there is energy in the city and also energy in the rural communities. And also, you will all agree with us that in an all-inclusive way, it will reduce the carbon emission and footprint in the way and manner rural communities use energy, because the way they use energy is unsustainable and is really dirty and unreliable. And having solar energy to be installed in the village, you would take along the rural community in terms of socio-economic prosperity, where they will create clean jobs where you will encourage them to opportunities and empower them, the communities, to participate in and promote self-sufficiency if they participated in the. So the whole message is that you see that at Ambient, what we do is that we do provide the services to rural communities using politicians and other interested parties like stakeholders in the international community that comes in form of grant to create energy system for rural communities to have access to at least decent energy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation and your time. So we will have a Q&A session. During the Q&A session, when we receive any questions, we will ask it for you. Okay?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Next, we will go with, 1 second, excuse me. Okay, so with our next speaker, we will go with Prof. Christian Romero, who will be talking about a super important and a trendy topic so far, energy storage made real. Dr. Romero, you can share your screen. Welcome.
Yes.
Us.
Thank you. So I hope you can see me. Good morning to everybody, or good afternoon.
Yeah, perfect.
So my name is Christian Romero, and I am a lead researcher at CCTVAL. It's a Center for Scientific and Technology Development in Valparaiso. And I will talk to you about what we have been doing and also mention our success case. I think it would be interesting for other people to learn about this. So CCTVAL was created in 2009, and its main endeavor is research, technological development, and also innovation. So for the people who don't know where Chile is, there it is, and Valparaiso is a coastal city, and it's pretty far away from you guys where you might be right now. So we started off as a nuclear science research center, so we have a lot of collaboration with nuclear science labs around the world where we develop technology for them. And we also, in that area, started to work with composite materials, and in this case, carbon fiber, to harvest different kinds of energy or renewable energy sources that might be available wherever you live. And in our case, one of the interesting things that we are working on is the wind wall, as we call it. In our country, we have a lot of solar and wind, and both have great advantages, but also have negative aspects. In the case of windmills, if you don't have enough air, you can't use them. So we developed this aerodynamic ring that increases the power output of up to 30%. And we have designed this modular construction module that you can, assemble these windmills like a Lego. So it's very fast to assemble. It can go very high. It's easy to transport, and the things are built to last for 50 years plus. So this is one concept, but what I want to show you more in depth today is the CHEX system. It's a renewable energy storage system. And I will explain to you why we need to store energy and what the problems are in Chile that we're solving with this technology. Okay, so this technology was developed at our center. It has now gone to a spin-off company, and is now patented in Chile, other countries in Latam, 20 countries in Europe. So we're expanding the reach of this technology. So as you guys probably know already, the problem with renewable energy is that it will produce energy whenever it can and not when you need the energy. So this production creates a lot of conflicts with consumption. So in our case, in 2022 in Chile, we had so much spillover that it was the same amount of energy that was generated with renewable energies the year before. So this is becoming a real problem, and countries that decide to go into renewables, you know, really strongly will have to deal or face this problem. So what I'm showing here is the national demand of power between December 2nd and 4th in Chile. There's a lot of oscillations, and what you see is that people, companies, and the country as a whole, the grid as a whole, does not have a constant energy demand, and this presents a lot of problems for the regulators. And the regulators have tried to do almost everything. Excuse me. What you see here is the dark curve is the actual demand, and the orange curve is the program demand. So the guys in the command center have done everything. You know, they have done intelligent systems, you know, take data as much as they can, but things will happen as they will. You know, if you get a hotter day, people go and turn off more AC, so the demand shifts abruptly. So this presents a real big issue, and the issue that most traditional solutions go to are some kind of mitigation. Now that you have, you know, renewable energies, you can try to, you know, balance it. You can try to monitor and lower grid instabilities. You can try to have a strong ramp up power supply, and you can try to, you know, peak shift. So these are all renewable energy mitigation solutions, and we believe that this is not a solution at all. It's, as it says, it's just a mitigation. This is just an example of the traditional solutions. So from our point of view, being one of the countries that has a lot of solar and wind comparable to traditional systems, we understand that the only way to make the energy transition happen is to have long duration energy storage. And it has to be long duration, it has to be industrial sized. You cannot live, you know, with a battery pack in your home and try to help the grid in this way. It's just not an individual's problem. It's not a private problem. It's a governmental problem. So there are a lot of these energy storage systems, and it makes sense to try to team them up, you know. So for example, if you go to mechanical storage, what you see is you can have something like pumped hydro with compressed air, and anybody that has worked in these areas will know that compressed air, when you expand it, will cool down. So you can also throw thermal energy storage at that and make a pack of that. And if you can come up with a creative solution for this, you might be onto something. So this is what most or many people have done, and so I'm just mentioning some of them: hybrid thermal compressed air energy storage systems, adiabatic advanced system, diabatic systems, droplet-based, near isothermal, liquid piston discharges, etc. So there's a lot of work in this area, and there's a lot of work for two reasons. One reason is that there are people that want to make ultra high efficiency systems with these technologies, and other people want to make very basic systems with these technologies. And this has a lot to do with politics, you know, with geopolitics, where if you can come up with a system that is simple and that uses the available resources in your own country, you're never going to import energy technology again. So this is a pretty interesting topic. So I want to make the case of CHEX for you guys. It's compressed hydro energy storage, and as I just shown you, there are so many. We add the X to that. So basically, how does it work? When you have solar power, you take that electrical power and you store air. And when you have the air stored, you can store the air in a mine, you can store it in a gas well. When you need to produce power, you feed this air into a tank with water. And this air will then push the water through a hydraulic turbine, and it's going to spin up and it's going to produce power. When the first tank is empty, you can go to feed the air to the second tank through a set of valves, and then you will push back the water through the turbine into the first tank. This way, you have created pistons, water pistons, that will feed the hydraulic generator, and you can produce power. You use very little water. As you can see, the solution has pipes, valves, tanks, air, and water. For this system, you don't need to import, fancy turbines or things like that. So we got a proof of concept in 2017. Now, as the idea went out of the center and into, the private sector, now they have minimal viable products, engineering designs, and already clients. And it may be a shocker, but some of the primary clients we have are all based in Africa. So we can use the underground infrastructure. In Chile, being a mining country, we have more than 7,000 kilometers of mining tunnels. And if we store air in that with our system, we can store 50% of all the consumption during the nighttime. So our point of view is that we also know that we can use other underground infrastructure like depleted oil and gas wells. We know that in North America, there are more than 2.5 million depleted wells. What about, the Gulf region or the rest of the world? So there is a huge potential to use these assets that are stranded, that we can give a second life. So basically, what we're doing with this technology is we're taking things that are available in our own countries and transforming them into batteries for renewable energy. It's cheap, it's simple technology, and what happens is that it creates a new value to existing assets. In many cases, the assets for the mines were a liability, and now we turn them into a renewable energy system. So if you are interested in our center or just the technology, or want to send me an email, here are the links. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christian, for joining us and for the presentation. If anyone has any questions, we will be addressing them in the Q&A session. Our next presentation will be in Arabic. العرض التالي رح يكون باللغة العربية. البرزنتيشن العرض رح ينعمل من الأستاذ راشد حربي برام، واسم العرض رح يكون Greenpeace Forest.
مساء الخير جميعا. Good evening everybody. I am engineer راشد السهيمات from Jordan. المهندس راشد السهيمات من الأردن، مهندس مبيعات وباحث في مجال الطاقة الشمسية، مهتم بتطوير مشاريع نوعية جديدة. بحب أشارك رؤيتي اللي عملتها تطويرها خلال السنوات وأنا طالب جامعة وللآن.
تقدر تشارك الشاشة أو نعملها من عندنا؟
لحظة، أنا قاعد بعمل شير سكرين. تمام البرزنتيشن واضح مهندس ملاك.
يس 100% واضح.
رؤيتي اللي اشتغلت عليها اسمها جرين بيس فورست، وهو مشروع يعني بتطوير الخلايا، نوع جديد من الخلايا الشمسية الخضراء. وحاليا أنا محتضن مع مركز الملك إيراني للريادة، وبدعم من نقابة المهندسين مركز رواد الأعمال المهندسين GIA رام. طبعا هذا جيل جديد من تقنيات أشباه الموصلات، عملت عليها أثناء وجودي بالجامعة مؤتة تحت إشراف الدكتور علي ضمور، وطورت خلايا شمسية بكفاءة 28%، 28% efficiency. وكان خلال هاي الفترة منتج قدرنا نحصل نطرحه بالسوق، وحاليا بعمل على تسجيل براءة اختراع. بالنسبة لشريحة الفئة المستهدفة للمنتج الخلايا الشمسية الخضراء، فهو كما يأتي: بناء على الدراسات بالاعتماد بالتعاون مع وزارة الطاقة والثروة المعدنية، حصلنا هاي البيانات وكيف ممكن مثلا يقدر يستفيد عدد الأشخاص من الرؤية، كيف ممكن نخدم ونخفض أسعار الطاقة المتجددة. فمثلا إحنا عندنا النظام المنزلي 5.5 كيلو DC بيكلف تقريبا ما بين 2700 لغاية 2800 دينار. بالمقابل أنا الخلايا تبعتي بتوفر فرق 700 دينار عن السوق، بالإضافة إلى كفاءة أعلى وعدد ألواح أقل للنظام الواحد ومساحة أقل. high efficiency, small area, small number of panels per every system. معدل الاستهلاك بالأردن، كيف ممكن هذا الأشخاص يعني سلوكهم الاستهلاكي سواء القطاع السكني أو التجاري أو الصناعي أو التجاري. بيوضح كيف مقدار الفواتير الكهرباء، مقدار الصيانة اللي بتكلفهم على أنظمتهم سنويا. منتج الخلايا الشمسية الخضراء كما يلي: هذا نظام مقترح إنه على تصميمه كيف ممكن يوفر مساحة. وهاي عند الباور كير للخلية اللي اختبرتها بالجامعة، وكم ماكسيمم باور بوينت اللي وصلت إلها بناء على الدراسات اللي عملتها. ويجري الآن على تطوير مينيمم فاليو برودكت جديد بحيث أنه الإفشنسي تكون 40%. فبالتالي أنا كل ما رفعت الكفاءة بتكنولوجيا تصنيع تكلفة أقل مقارنة بباقي الخلايا الشمسية الخضراء. طبعا أنا ما بعتمد على عنصر السيليكون، بعتمد على عناصر انتقالية هجنتها بحيث أنها تسلك سلوك أشباه الموصلات وتعطيني بالنهاية تتأثر بالظاهرة الكهروضوئية فوتوفولتيك، وكيف ممكن اني احصل التيار. فهاي كانت اول تجربه. مين ممكن يستفيد من المشروع او الرؤيه؟ السولار بانل اسمبلي كومبانيز فاكتوريز، مودرن كارز كومبانيز اند سمارت سيستم، سيمي كوندكتور كومبانيز، factories of integrated circuit, computers and smartphone, factories of energy batteries, telephones and car batteries of all kinds, individual and home owners of commercial project, malls and etc., small and medium renewable energy companies installing solar and home project. فأنا عندي شريحة واسعة، ممكن أطور على تطبيقات المشروع بحيث أني أصنع تشيبس جديدة، دوائر تكاملية جديدة، integrated circuit جديد من نوعها على مستوى عالمي. فبالتالي والآن إحنا بنناقش مع الجمعية العلمية الملكية رويال ساينتفك سوسايتي لتسجيل براءة اختراع to get a patent في المجال البحث. شو اللي بتميز فيه المنتج الخلية الشمسية الخضراء؟ fewer panels per system, maintenance ability. طبعا معظم الخلايا الشمسية إذا صار تحطم للزجاج زي ما بنعرف اللوح ما بقدر أسوي له صيانة. بالمقابل أنا خليتي عندي الثيكنس للموديول أكبر من مقارنة بغيره، بالتالي أنا في عندي قابلية الصيانة. لو تحطم اللوح عندي بقدر أسوي له الصيانة مباشرة. لسه سبيس أدفانس تكنولوجي وبس. هذا بالنسبة للأسعار الطاقة المتجددة بالأردن والألواح لما أستوردها من سواء من جينكو، لونجي، GA سولار. فيلادلفيا سولار، انا بدي انزل الاسعار بحيث انه يكون قابل للشراء، بنفس الوقت اوفر منتج بكفاءه عاليه، والاهم انه تكنولوجيا التصنيع تبعته خط الانتاج بيتطلب اقل مقارنه بنظيراتها الموجوده بالسوق او الموجوده بالمصانع او البحوث العلميه. شو عندي فيوتشر فيجن بناء على المشروع؟ ما انا الان حاليا ستارت اب مع مركز الملك الإيراني للرياده، بعد ما اسس مصنع شو في ممكن رؤيه اعمل عليها على تطويرها لخدمه مستوى الاقليمي والمحلي والعالمي. Developing green solar panels products and building the company's brand and customer base with high reliability. بدي ابني موثوقيه للمنتج تبعي، بدي اخلي الناس تعتمد عليه وتشوفه عبر تحقيق كفاءات الاختبار، مثل الباور توليرانس، الكرنت كوفيشنت تمبرتشر، الفولتج كرنت تمبرتشر، وستاندرد تيست كونديشن، والان او تي سي. برضو بدي اطور منتجات الدوائر الكهربائيه والالكترونيك تشيب بالاعتماد على خطه عمل بحيث انه تكون المنتجات باتجاه سمارت اند لكزري فيرنتشر. الاثاث الذكي بدي اطور منتجات من مشروع الخلايا الشمسيه الخضراء، وكيف ممكن يساهم في توفير حياه الناس، توفير تكلفه تاثيث المنازل. بدي اعتمد على مفهوم البناء الاخضر، والجرين بيلدينج هو مفهوم واسع لا يمكن حصره بكلمتين او بفقره بسيطه، ولكن انا الرؤيه اللي بشتغل عليها ضمن هذا المجال بدي اعطي البيئه افضل منتجات باقل تكلفه باعلى جوده، بتوفير مساحات بتكون متناول ايدي الجميع، فما بتكون محصوره حصرا على يد طبقه معينه، لا بتكون قابليه للجميع. اخر شيء developing promising product، بدي اطور استشارات وخدمات ومنتجات بحيث تكون هذه في مجال توليد الطاقه الكهربائيه من الارض، من باطن الارض، جيوثيرمال. في عندي بيانات شاركتها بالتعاون مع مختبرات وزاره المياه، وبالتالي وجدت انه في مناطق بالاردن ممكن توليد منها الطاقه الحراريه وتحويلها لطاقه كهربائيه بمنتجات اقل بالاعتماد على مفاهيم البحث. برضه بدي اطور، نعمل مع دكتوره بقسم الهندسه الكيميائيه في جامعه موته على تطوير منتجات جديده من الخلايا بالاعتماد على السيليكون، وبدي ابرمج تطبيق بالتعاون مع فريق عمل بحيث انه يحسب التقادم بالخليه الشمسيه. يعني مثلا في حاليا بنتشر تجاره الالواح الشمسيه المستعمله كثير، مثلا هسه المونو اللي قدرتها 200 واط 300 واط اصبحت قديمه، واللي في عمر المشاريع المركبه حاليا بالسوق الاردني في ناس كثير بطرح المشاريع المركبه سواء صغيره كبيره للبيع عشان يحدث الواحه، يتبع اخر الاصدارات تير 1 اللي هن ال 550 وال 575 واللي هن الاكثر شيوعا واستخداما بالمملكه الاردنيه الهاشميه. فبالتالي انا لو بدي ابني خط تجاره لما بده اي شخص عنده نظام طاقه مستعمل او مستخدم بده يبيعه، ما بيكون في تسعيره عادله. فبالتالي انا بالاعتماد على مشروع تخرجي بدي ابرمج تطبيق يحسب التقادم بالخليه وبناء عليه بصير لها تسعيره. بالتالي في نوع من البالانس والتوازن في السوق والعداله في توزيع الاسعار. فهيك بتطور قطاع الطاقه الشمسيه. طبعا هذا الفاينانشال الكوست لاول 3 سنوات للمشروع تبعي، واللي هي حاليا نعمل على تطوير خطه له. وهاي ممكن عوائد الارباح اللي ممكن يحققها مشروع ويخدم اكبر فئه اللي هي الطبقه المتوسطه والطبقه الفقيره. وحاب اشارك كمان فورم ثاني يوضح التخطيطات الهندسيه للمنتج المقترح. طبعا هاي الخليه الشمسيه شكلها تصميمها الهندسي، وفي تصميمات ثانيه مقترحه اللي هي التصميمات المطروحه بالسوق سواء المونو او الهالف كات سيلز، وفيها تصميم مقترح برضه بحيث انه يكون عدد الخلايا اقل بس بالمقابل كفاءه اعلى، قدره الصيانه اكبر. وطبعا بتتميز فيه الخليه الشمسيه الخضراء انها طبيعتها نماتك تجمع ما بين الحالة السائلة والصلبة، فبالتالي درجات الحرارة مهما ارتفعت على عكس باقي الألواح الشمسية اللي بتتأثر في باور توليرانس معين with temperature انا عندي درجه الحراره كل ما زادت كل ما كان الموبيليتي للالكترونات اللي بتتاثر بالفوتون اكبر كعدد ونسبه تناسب بعدد بلورات اقل للانترنال ديزاين للمستوى الخليه، فبالتالي عندي انا ايش؟ اوتبوت كرنت اعلى وفولتيه اعلى كفرق جهد. طبعا هذه كانت اول خليه عملت على تطويرها واختبارها اثناء مشروع التخرج بجامعه موته، وعملت على تطوير خليه ثانيه حققت هاي الخليه كفاءه 28%. اللون الاخضر هو اللي بيمثل الماده الخام لتصنيع الخليه، واللي هي تم تطويرها بعد عده سلسله من التجارب والبحوث العلميه. وهاي هي ليكويد كريستال اوف LCD سكرين. انا اقتبست منها هذه الخصائص عبر مواد اخرى، مواد كيميائيه طبعا مستقره تتميز انها بتجمع ما بين الحالة السائلة والصلبة، وكيف ممكن تخدمنا بتجنب درجات الحرارة العالية، وكيف ممكن تأثر على الخلايا. فإحنا بنعرف إنه لما عند درجات حرارة معينة الخلية زيرو أو بيضعف أو بصير الديجريشن تبعه يضعف بشكل كبير. أنا بالمقابل بالصحراء ممكن أركب عدد أكبر من الخلايا بقدرة كفاءة عالية، اوتبوت كرنت واوتبوت باور وبوتنشال ديفرنس عالي جدا. وهاي شكل الخليه المقترح كان اول تجربه مخبريه. وهاي الكاركترستيك لكل بانل مقترح. مثلا عندي انا لوح 510 واط بالكفاءه تبعته بالنمبر اوف سيلز، بتميز انه هذا لون اخضر، وبرضه ايش الاريا تبعته 1.6 متر مربع مقارنة بباقي الألواح اللي بتتطلب اريا على على 2.5 متر مربع. هذا تصميم مقترح للسولار بانل ب 72 خلية بنفس الافشنس ل 612 واط باريا 2 متر مربع، فرق نص متر عن باقي الألواح. وطبعا في تصميمات مقترحة ل 812 واط واللي سبق شاركتها في ملف الوورد السابق، وبرضه في تصميمات مقترحة ل 1275 واط بنفس تكلفة التصنيع ال 550 واط وبسعر أرخص بكفاءة أعلى. وفي هذا النظام طبعا بتتميز بكولينج سيلف سيستم، داخلها نظام تبريد ذاتي بحيث انه يحافظ على كفاءة الخلية، وبالتالي اللايف سبان للخلية او اللوح الشمسي تزداد بشكل اكبر ما يمكن. وهيك بحب اختم البرزنتيشن تبعي، ولاي اي استفسارات او اي اسئله انا جاهز.
شكرا لك أستاذ هاشم على العرض. ملك بس كان بيتأكد في حد تاني حيعمل presentation؟
No, all is done. We can now move to the Q&A session.
I'll hand it over for you to.
Okay. شكرا لك مهندس راشد على البرزنتيشن. إن شاء الله we'll get back to you على يعني نخليك ترتاح شوي after all of these questions, all of these presentations, sorry. And we'll get back to you. I'd like to kindly ask our esteemed speakers to Dr. Patrick, Prof. Romero, if you're still with us. I think he's not. And Mr. Hashim, if you can be with us on board and open your cameras to have few questions to you. Mr. Hashim, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, so we received a few questions for you. One of them is just 1 second to ask it correctly.
Okay.
Okay, so for your presentation, we get this question about what innovative approaches or technologies are being employed to help the rural communities as a brief, and how these initiatives, like public initiatives, contribute to bridge the energy gap in the remote areas, as a real example, if it is possible.
Okay. in 2020, we paid a walking visit into a rural area. The rural area is about 200 kilometers away from the urban area. So we see an enormous energy gap where this community doesn't have any means of energy to use to charge their phones or to generate electricity. They are completely cut off the grid. They don't have any means to connect to the grid, and they don't have anything to give them energy off grid. So me and my partner, we sat down and see how we can help this rural community. So what we did that time is to come up with a solar home device like this, about 250 watts, that can assist them to charge phone, assist them to power one television, and maybe have some 4 light bulbs for like 4 to 6 hours. And we test run it. We took it to the village, and successfully now we have it in the market. We have it with them. We have it with so many rural communities. We are offering that for them, and a lot of people are keen in to own that 250 watt solar generator to generate electricity to charge phones mainly, and at least have some light. So that is what we come up with as a technology to assist the rural communities in Gombe State. Then in Gombe State is in Bauchi State, is bordering Bauchi State in northern Nigeria, northeast in particular.
Mhm.
So we are trying to upscale this product. How we can patent it. We are in a process with our country regulators to patent it, and have a means of getting grant to produce it massively, so that it will go into more rural communities to assist them in bridging the energy gap. Really,
Thank you. Thank you for being part of
we
the
can provide pictures
Mhm.
and simulations of the solar generator. I can
Thank you.
provide that.
Yeah, thank you. If we can, I'll be in contact with you after the conference, so we can add them to the presentation and upload them. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Another question is about the provision of the energy solutions. How it lead to let's say
Provisions,
yeah, of the energy
provisions.
solutions. Provisions, yeah. How it lead to broader the
Yeah, okay.
socio-economic development. Like, is there any specific examples, or we can take the previous example actually as a real case example.
Yes, apart from the solar generator that we introduced, it's really immensely contributed into their socioeconomic status, because some of the inhabitants in the rural communities are now using this generator to power television, where they are making shows, football shows, and that is really making them to make some decent income, and they are making it to charge phones commercially, where people will deposit their telephones and charge it for a fee, and that really it will go a long way in creating some kind of socioeconomic succor to the people that are taking that innovative idea to venture into an entrepreneurship drive using this solar generator. And apart from that, we also try to bridge the gap by bringing them to city and train them where they would take advantage. We employ some of them and train them into solar installation into our using our company, so that if they go back to their rural areas, they can at least assist in one way or the other by connecting other household in the rural areas to at least get energy that they can light up and do some kind of small energy needs.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the presentation and the contribution. For any other questions, I believe people can reach to you. So we need to jump to another question, actually, to Dr. Patrick. Dr. Patrick, are you with us? Dr. Patrick, are you there? Okay, while he's getting back, we have a few questions to Prof. Christian. Please, are you there? Can you open your camera? Dr. Romero, thank you so much. Thank you for your interested topic, actually, which is really trendy now and really important nowadays. Briefly, we get different questions about this. What recent advancements in energy storage technologies have made it more practical nowadays, and keep it more accessible for the smart cities and industries?
Okay, this is a very complicated question, but thank you for the question. In my country, we are not, Europe or the United States. We have always had to buy technical solutions from other people. So the need of my country has always made people in other countries very rich. Now, today, we have the development of technologies that are simple. They don't have a fancy material, a sophisticated material that was developed, I don't know, by NASA. So we can solve our problems without relying on international companies. And this is a very interesting topic. That's why I said the question is complicated, because if you develop cheap, long-lasting infrastructure to store energy, you don't need big companies anymore. You can do it locally for the people of your country and develop national industry. So this is a very complex solution. But with the systems that I showed you, this is factual. You can do it. We've done it, and now we wish for people in other places and countries that have underground infrastructure that is just sitting there to use that infrastructure to store energy, and the energy storage can be from renewables. And with that, we give everything a second life. We create local jobs. We create local manufacturing capabilities. And so the people of the different territories will have a higher quality of life. And also, we create more independence from big corporations. And I think this is also a very big topic. Energy and energy storage and energy management has a lot of interests in it that sometimes does not align with what people need to have locally. I don't know if this
that was a really, really good answer. Thank you so much. Crossing to my mind based on this answer and few questions just crossed also. For sure, the energy storage has impact on the grid stability, and while we have the renewable energy. Could you mention real life example of larger scale projects? Is there any large scale projects now are running on the energy storage systems?
So in our country, 10 years ago, the government decided to give a lot of permissions to install solar projects. And everybody was very happy and everybody thought it was a good thing, even myself. But come now 2023, the first 3 months of 2023, we spilled the same amount of energy. I forgot how many gigawatt hours it was, but we spilled an equivalent amount of energy than the energy that we produced using fossil fuels in 2022. We just wasted it in 2023 from January, February, and March. So having a lot of solar energy is complex. It's complex. And so the government realized that they needed, energy storage systems. So what did the government do? They have put different land in different locations so that companies can set up their storage factories, their storage units. The government has also changed the electrical law. So now if you are an energy storage company, you can be considered as a utility. So you are allowed to inject energy into the grid just like any other utility. And so with this comes a lot of projects. In our country, we have many systems based on batteries, 50 megawatts, 400 megawatts, very big systems, but they're very expensive. So with our technology, what we're doing is we developed it for our country, but we've gotten more interest from mining companies that operate in Africa for two reasons. We don't have in my country an energy problem. The grid is very stable, but we have to spend a lot of money to try to fix the problems that renewables do. Whereas in some places, specifically in South Africa, the grid goes down. So not only if you have energy storage, not only do you enable renewable energies during the night, for example, but you also provide energy security, and with energy security comes the fact that if you are able to produce your renewable energy locally, and you can store in your own mines or in your own oil and gas wells, you never need to buy any imported battery.
Fuel, let's say, yeah.
And no fuel, you have the fuel on your own.
Yeah.
Now there are countries that have enough fuel, and there are countries that don't have fuel. I come from a country that has no fuel. So whatever we can do to lower our dependency on foreign fuel is good for us.
And this is the case for most of the countries. Actually, thank you so much for your informative, let's say, answer and the presentation. Thank you so much. I think people will be reaching out to you after the event also. Thank you so much. Now moving to Dr. Patrick, we have super important question talking about money for you. In the context of the System 3, what could be the potential economic benefits, cost saving, let's say, associated with adopting the system in the constructions, let's say, industry?
It depends what actually the author of the question means, and to be honest with you, the economic impact is quite huge, because we observe that the business model we implemented in Europe is effective. So on our production side, we see many benefits in contrast to traditional ceramic and AEC manufacturers. So we spend less for energy and we spend less for materials, because Perlite is so effective in terms of the end properties, and machine and tooling is way cheaper than for standard factories you have to set up to manufacture AEC blocks. On the construction side, if you compare it to other technologies, well, it's not a concrete reinforced structure that's gonna support skyscrapers, but it's some good alternative to set up some single family attached or detached houses. So we see that from our experience that you save about 25% of your construction operations in terms of, well, considering a single family house. And by reducing waste, by reducing operational time, so you can also employ cheaper workforce, And all of this combined give you about 25% of lower cost of your building. I hope this covers.
Yeah, this is super covers, and so we can describe it actually in one word. It is sustainable. Sustainable as environmentally friendly, economic, and
And
thank
also
you
it
so much.
supports your well-being. If I can add something, it also supports your well-being, and the social impact is quite huge, because we considered this some time ago, and thinking about it, we opened doors to jobs for unskilled workforce. It's done. And also the end product, which is a house, gives you economic stability, because your energy bills are gonna to be lower in contrast to standard buildings. Also, perlite in combination with mineral binder gives you the possibility to create some, well, not some, but clean microclimate within your house. So you don't have to tune your operating system to get some proper air ventilation and maybe thermal heating, because you are worried that in your gypsum material are gonna be some algae and other microorganisms. With our material, we proved that it's impossible to grow anything, and the sick home syndrome is actually not present after many years. So it gives you benefit on your well-being and on the operational side.
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you so much. One of the interesting things actually were, and we get comment on this, it was safe, protecting also from fire or any
Exactly.
other problems. So thank you so much for presenting such an amazing solution, and thank you for answering the question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, moving and switching to Arabic, getting back to our last speaker. أهلا وسهلا مهندس راشد، لو بتقدر تفتح الكاميرا تكون معانا. أهلا وسهلا. وصلنا مهندس عدة أسئلة، إنه يعني هيك بشكل مبسط نقدر نحكي إنه وين وصلت كآخر مرحلة حاليا من الرؤية اللي أنت ماشي فيها. هنميوت أنت مهندس إذا بتفتح المايك. أوكي، ناو سامعينك.
بالنسبة لموضوع الرؤية، وصلت الآن حصلت على دعم مركز الملكة رانيا للريادة الأعمال ونقابة المهندسين الأردنيين، ووزارة الاقتصاد والريادة الرقمي، ووزارة الطاقة والثروة المعدنية بالمملكة الأردنية الهاشمية. وتصلني دعوات من هالت برايز العالمية للمشاركة في مسابقات ومنظمات. حاليا ببحث عن شراكات مع جامعات لتطوير المشروع بشكل أكبر.
ما شاء الله، بالتوفيق يا رب. السؤال آخر يعني إنه هيك، إنه للتوضيح أكثر برضه بشكل مبسط، إيش الهدف النهائي من الرؤية هاي اللي أنت قاعد بتشتغل عليها؟
تطوير قطاع الطاقة المتجددة لأقصى مدى، والاستفادة من بدائل الطاقة، الاستغناء عن الوقود الأحفوري، بالأخص مع مشاكل اللي واجهها العالم مثل الأزمة الأوروبية والأزمة قطاع الطاقة في الوطن العربي مع الحروب الأهلية اللي صارت. فشفنا أنه كيف ارتفعت أسعار الطاقة بشكل مضطرب، فبالتالي توفير منتج يكون قابل للعمل في كافة البيئات، بالأخص منطقة الوطن العربي اللي تمتاز بمعدل إشعاع شمسي عالي. ممكن إنه إحنا نصير برودكشن للرينيوبل إنرجي، بالإضافة إلى إنجازاتنا السابقة في قطاع الطاقة والاستغناء عن الوقود الأحفوري، وتطوير قطاع الطاقة، وبرضه تطوير منهجيات تصنيع علمية بشكل أوفر وتحمي البيئة. بالنهاية ما في مخلفات صناعية اللي تؤذي البيئة، هذا بالأهم كمان بالدرجة الأهمية.
تمام، أشكرك. كمان سؤال، يعني تقدر تحكي، أنا كنت حسألك إياه بس انطرح بطريقة أخرى، إنه ممكن نحكي إيش الفرق بين النموذج اللي أنت قاعد بتعمله وبين الألواح اللي قائمة حاليا. لكن أتوقع في سؤال يعني بيطرح الموضوع اللي هو هل الخلايا اللي بتعملها قابلة للتحلل biodegradable؟
في الواقع
نعم.
تفضل.
وفي حال كان نعم، يعني كيف إحنا بنحافظ عليها لتدوم فترة طويلة؟
في الواقع هذا السؤال مهم جدا، وبشكر المهندس اللي طرحه، على ما أظن اسمه حمدي خليلي.
نعم.
بالنسبة أنا طرحت في البرزنتيشن إنه خاصية الخلايا نماتك تجمع ما بين الحالة السائلة والصلبة، بيكون لها وعاء حاوي، وغير كل في شيء اسمه في علم الهندسة الكهربائية الانزوليشن
مهندس عندك تقطيع في الشبكة، لو ترجع تعيد
تمام.
جوابك. نعم هيك أفضل.
في عندي شيء اسمه في علم الهندسة الكهربائية الانزوليشن كوفيشنت، وفي وعاء حاوي. حكيت في البرزنتيشن انه الماده اللي الخام لتصنيع الخليه هي نماتك تجمع ما بين الحال السائل والصلبه، فبالتالي الخليه ما بتتاثر بالفوتونات بحيث انه تتحلل، لا، يصير في سايكل للفوتون بحيث انه تتفاعل المواد مع بعضها من دون ما تتحطم الخليه، وبتحافظ على درجاته. كل ما ارتفعت درجه الحراره كل ما زادت الافشنسي للتوليد. هاي نقطه. النقطه الثانيه، المواد مستقرة وتم تجربتها من عام 2017 لغاية الآن، ففي سنوات اختبارات، فهي ما بتتحلل، هي بتحافظ ما بين الحالة السائلة والصلبة، بتضل بنوع من السايكل في دورة كاملة.
نعم نعم. يعني بنتمنى لك التوفيق بالفكرة اللي نقدر نحكي الرائعة إن شاء الله، إنه تكون جزء من التغيير اللي قاعد بصير. شكرا كثير لك على البرزنتيشن وعلى مشاركتك لنا اليوم وعلى أجوبتك كمان. يعطيك العافية مهندس.
يعطيكم العافية لشركة منظمة سولاربيك اللي نظمت مثل هذا اللقاء الرائع، واللي دائما أنتم أصلا سباقين في أي مؤتمر في خدمة الطاقة المتجددة وزيادة الوعي بأهميتها والمعرفة، وبرضو تزويد المهندسين وتسليحهم بالخبرات اللازمة.
شكرا لك، شكرا لك. إن شاء الله دائما نكون عند حسن الظن إحنا وشركائنا كمان. وبهيك إحنا بنختم اليوم الأول. نشكر أولا المتحدثين بالإنجليزي، بعدين بنرجع للعربي. So thus we conclude to our second day from our conference on the advanced technologies for managing modern smart sustainable cities. It has been a day filled, thank God, with knowledge and informative exchange of future and innovative ideas. I would like me and the team extend our gratitude to all our speakers, attendees, and partners for their active and valuable participation. We hope that you have benefited from this day and gain a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities presented by the advanced technologies for managing modern sustainable cities. Looking forward to see you tomorrow again on the last day of the conference, where we will continue to explore more important topics related to the future of smart sustainable cities. Thank you everyone and have a nice day. نعود للعربية، وبهيك نختم اليوم الثاني من مؤتمرنا حول التقنيات المتقدمة لإدارة المدن الذكية. كان ولله الحمد يوم ثاني مليء بالمعرفة والتبادل البناء لأفكار مبتكرة. شكرا لجميع المتحدثين والحضور والشركاء على مشاركتكم الفعالة والقيمة. إن شاء الله تكونوا استفدتوا من هذا اليوم وحملتوا معاكم فهم أعمق للتقنيات المقدمة في مجال إدارة المدن الذكية. إن شاء الله نراكم غدا في لقاء أخير من المؤتمر، بحيث نواصل استكشاف مواضيع مهمة بتخص مستقبل المدن الذكية والمستدامة. شكرا لكم، ونتمنى أن تستمتعوا بالباقي من يومكم. وبخصوص الأسئلة التقنية المتعلقة بالبرزنتيشنز وتسجيل الندوة، إن شاء الله راح تكون مرفوعة على الموقع كالعادة، تقدروا تتواصلوا معنا لأي أسئلة أخرى. شكرا جميعا ومع السلامة.